was about the dogs. Nah, it's about power. Yeah. Put up to the specialty, sunrise on the ground. Dogs in the grooming tents, whispers all around. Catalog smiles with the tension in the air. Every handshake got a hidden little snare. Bored in the back room, running quiet little schemes. Bylaws in the pocket like a stack of poker dreams. Say it's for the breed, but they guarding their throne. If you question anything, they coming for your bone. Grievance in the envelope, certified mail. Club justice system, but the day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So we are on day 12 of the Lindsay Clancy murder trial. Just watching the comments. It's crazy how many people think the husband did it. I wonder why there's this need to blame the husband instead of just accepting that women can be murderers. It's wild to me. Of course, I guess we live in a world where all men are bad, right? I mean, I agree that he was kind of disassociated from his life and the children and all that stuff. And it seems like he didn't know much of what was going on and all that stuff. But to say that, and maybe, like I said yesterday, is that there is somewhere in the middle, there's his truth and her truth, and somewhere in the middle is the truth, right? But to say that he killed the kids and then threw her out the window, it's funny how everybody thinks that she was unconscious when thrown out the window. If she's in court, you have to think she's in court right now and she's crying over the autopsies and, verbally crying over the autopsies and all this stuff. And she's talking to her defense and her defense attorney and all this stuff. If she would have remembered, her defense is that she had postpartum. So don't you think that if she thought that her husband killed the babies and threw her out the window unconsciously, that would be her defense, is that she didn't do any of this? I just think it's funny how the theories are she didn't do this, that it was her husband and she's taking the fall for it. Because she's looking at if she doesn't win this case, she's looking at 3 life sentences, basically, because, Massachusetts doesn't have the death penalty. So 3 first-degree murders, it would be 3 life sentences. And I think that people are angry because so far it's presented as to the jury that there's so far reasonable doubt. No matter how much the defense gets up there and argues and looks like a fool and makes all these accusations and misrepresents the facts and evidence and all this stuff, you can look like a fool, which is, I don't think, is good for her case. And you can say, well, she doesn't get to get up and walk out of here because you want to prejudice the jury to have sympathy for her. The problem is that most people with a heart or empathy for anything. I mean, I have very little empathy for a lot of people. But the thing for adults, I should say, because your actions have consequences. But one thing that I do have empathy for are children and animals, of course, because they're the innocents, right? They didn't ask for this life. They didn't ask for to be born. They didn't ask to be brought into this world. You chose that. And so when you choose those things, your actions towards them have consequences. And you can't use mental illness. You can't use your actions as a safeguard to get out of committing a crime. So I have little empathy that you can't get up and walk out of court, that you're going to have to deal with this for the rest of your life. Okay. Your defense can say that, but the jury's going to look at it as your 8-month-old, your 3-year-old, and your 5-year-old has 0 life. And yes, we're all supposed to be unbiased, but when you listen and you watch the faces and you look at how all this played out so far, there's reasonable doubt that you had any mental problems. Because so far, nothing has fleshed out as that you didn't, that you tried the medication, that you allowed it to work, that you followed any of the doctor's orders, that you did anything that would suggest that you were trying to actually get help, except for just doctor shop or try this medication, try that medication. It was almost like you were following a rule book that would allow you to almost commit these crimes in a way of saying, oh, look, I was crazy. Like you wanted out, right? Like you were trying to make an excuse for what you did. Now, the defense hasn't presented their case in chief, so who knows what they bring in. But so far, the defense has only looked like a buffoon in court and hasn't really cross-examined very well, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. And the thing is I look for all facts. I look for what is presented. And like I said, I have very little empathy. So it's not like I'm sitting there looking at her going, oh, she's in a wheelchair, she's this or that, or, I'm just looking at what's presented so far. So, the people that play the empathy part of, oh, she can't get up and walk out of court. She had postpartum. She had this, she had that. She had the resources available. So who failed her, if you want to say that? Well, there's a lot of people that were trying to help her. I also believe the husband had a lot to play with it. He's very sketchy to me too. But there wasn't a lot of help there, but there was a lot of help through psychiatrists, psychologists, parents, all this, she did have a husband, wasn't like she was alone, wasn't like she was a single mom, all this stuff with 3 kids, 3 young kids, all this stuff. But she also didn't follow the advice of anyone she went to. And at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own actions. All this blaming everybody else, you have to literally go, what are we doing here? Like, how much do you put blame on everybody else? Those children were innocent. She wanted to commit suicide. Why didn't she just do it herself? Why did she have to kill her 3 children? That should be the main focus. Why didn't she walk away? Why didn't she just get divorced? Why didn't she just leave? Lots of moms leave. Lots of dads leave. Why did the children have to die? That should be the question. Just my thoughts. I don't have empathy for people who hurt children and animals. They're innocent. I don't know why he just doesn't always say 9:15 court will start instead of 9 o'clock. Also, I was thinking about the hospital that she stayed at for 5 days. She wanted to go home because her daughter's birthday was the following day, right? She could have went home, say she wanted, because she was voluntary, right? So she could have went home, taken care of her daughter's birthday, if that's what she wanted to do. So her daughter turning 5 years old, she wasn't there. She didn't want to not be there for her daughter's birthday. And then went back the following day. if she truly wanted help, she truly wanted to sign herself in for help and all that stuff, why didn't she do that? If she truly wanted to be home, like her whole excuse of only staying there for 5 days instead of for longer treatment, or however long they normally keep them for, going against, the recommendations of the doctors, all that stuff. Why didn't she say, well, just let me go home for this day for my daughter's birthday, so I'm not there, or so I'm not there for my daughter's birthday, and then I'll come back the following day and then stay for longer treatments, blah, blah, blah. She could have done that if she truly was using all these doctors, all these hospitals, or these 2 hospitals for their help. I don't think she was really using them for the help or truly wanted the help, or her actions don't match her words. Right. I agree. Totally should have come back. If she truly wanted help. Yeah. If she truly wanted help, she could have also gave medication a chance. Exactly. Well, that's what I was saying in the beginning when I first started. Like, at what point do you also take accountability for your own actions if you're only on it for a day, a week? Like, antidepressants, even sleep medicine, all that kind of stuff, unless you're having such an adverse reaction to it, which you don't know with one pill, unless it's an allergic reaction.
Your Honor, may I proceed?
Yes, please.
Your Honor, before the court, we have the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. Ms. Clancy is present. She is represented by Attorney Kevin Reddington, and the Commonwealth is represented by Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague and Assistant District Attorney Shannon Buckingham.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and good morning, counsel. Good morning, Ms. Clancy. All right. So before we get going, let me talk to counsel about today's schedule and kind of where we go. So if I could see everybody at sidebar. Please.
Sidebar. I need to go to sidebar. But that's what I was saying before, her lawyer, defense wants everybody to be like, oh, well, she can't get up and walk out of here. She can't, you know, she's going to have to deal with this for the rest of her life. Okay. I have no empathy for that. She chose to take those actions. If she truly wanted to commit suicide, right? She could have done it to herself. Why did she have to choose her kids? Right. Exactly. So, like, she could have left. Moms leave all the time. There are many people that their moms leave at a young age. There's a guy, OT, that comes on here. His mom left when he was 1 year old. Like, there's people that dads leave all the time, moms leave all the time. She could have just left. What made her kill her children? That's the question that needs to be answered. If she truly had suicidal thoughts, she could have killed herself. She didn't have to take her children. That's the question that needs to be asked. Yeah, there were so many other options. So why that option, right? And I honestly think the killing herself was the afterthought. Because if you look at the blood splatter, right? She had to be standing there in front of the mirror looking at her own wrist. And this is the thing, we don't know what happened, but when you look at blood splatter analysis, you're looking at the fact that it was drip over top of drip to create those puddles. It wasn't like she was just bleeding profusely. It was drip over top of drip. So she was standing there looking at herself in the mirror. And so you just have to go, this isn't realistic. And the cuts weren't even deep enough. Every person said they were superficial. You need 3 stitches? Come on now. You did more damage to your children than you did to yourself. So why did they have to die? And we're supposed to feel empathy, or we're supposed to have empathy or sympathy because you can't walk? I don't care that you can't walk. Your children have no life. Right, right, exactly. So she had enough thought to call him back. And that's the thing too. During psychosis, how would you do that? Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, you just have to think, like, if you play this out in your mind, you have to think of how she did this. Like, how do you do that to your own children? And this is the thing. Everybody's like blaming Patrick. Like, there's so many like conspiracy theories on all this. They think Patrick did it. And I'm like, okay, so this is a world we live in today, right? Like, it blame all men for all things, right? Which I think is such a bullshit move. But he wasn't even there. He wasn't even there. But it's like, it's hard to believe that women can be psychopaths, that women can be killers. There's a lot of them. Like, just look at true crime. I like watch true crime all the time. And it's like, they just don't want to believe that she would kill 3 children. And they're like, oh, she like there's some people that literally think he killed her or he killed them, and then she took those pills and were passed out, the pills that were crushed up in the mug. I don't think she took any of those because her levels of her own medication weren't even high enough in her body. Oh no, you absolutely, Steph, you're absolutely correct. No, they would be like, fry him, put him up against the firing squad. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like the case that I showed you of the dude that works for I think it was a couple days ago, I put it up. The dude who works for the American Heart Association, right? He killed his wife and their 6 children. Again, why kill the children? 6 children. Why kill the wife? She found out he was cheating on him. And for the second time, and she said, if you cheat on me again, I'm leaving. She found out he was cheating again. So what's he do? Kills her, kills their 6 children, tries to light the house on fire. Doesn't work per se. So he kills himself. 8 people dead because of infidelity. These are your own actions. I guarantee if he would have made it, they would have been like, fry him, right? I know, not the same scenario, but say he had PTSD, say whatever the scenario would be, but that it would be a mental thing, guarantee they'd be like, fry him. Because 6 children. I don't understand this society that we're living in today to where we're killing people. Why do they need to die? And I find it odd that that's everybody's go to now, right? Is, oh, I did something wrong, so I'm just gonna kill the whole family, or I can't handle it no more, so I killed the whole family. you know? And what was her thought process, literally? Like, why kill the children? And I just don't understand. And we're supposed to have empathy. We're supposed to have some sympathy because she had postpartum or whatever. She had postpartum with her second child. She didn't kill him.
So we're set to the jury at this point.
Sorry, I don't know if your name is Steph or whatever. I've just called your name.
I don't think that made that mistake.
Court, all rise, jurors entering.
Right. And I 100% understand. Okay, cool. I understand postpartum. I understand that your hormones change, your body changes, you become overwhelmed. There's a lot going on. I will 1000% give it to women who go through, but like you get help. You go through all that, right? He's a late delivery nurse. He knows it.
Hey, all persons having anything to do before the Honorable William Sullivan, Justice,
Come on.
Superior Court, now sitting in Plymouth, within and for the Commonwealth.
Mothers go
Come on in, give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, this court is now in session. Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, please.
Your Honor, before the court today, we have the continuation of the jury trial in the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. Ms. Clancy is present. She is represented by Attorney Kevin Reddington. The Commonwealth is represented by Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague and Assistant District Attorney Shannon Buckingham.
All right, well, thank you, Madam Clerk. Good morning, everyone. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask you those questions to make sure everybody was able to follow my instructions. And then at that point, we'll talk a little bit about today's schedule. All right, so we'll get to the questions. First question is, any member of the jury read, seen, heard, or overheard anything from any source about any aspect of this case that would affect your ability to be fair and impartial? Last question, is there any other serious matter of concern bearing on your service as a juror in this case that anybody needs to bring to my attention? All right, great. Thank you for following those instructions. Today, we're going to continue with the Commonwealth's presentation of evidence. The anticipation is that we will go probably similar to that we had the last couple of days into the afternoon. All right, and then after that, before I send you home, I'll talk again with counsel in regards to the schedule for the rest of the week and kind of where we are. All right, so when you leave here today, you probably have a little bit better idea as the schedule for the rest of the week and into next week. All right, so so with that, I think we'll return to the Commonwealth's case. Attorney Buckingham.
Commonwealth will call Daniel Lawler to the stand.
This is a police officer?
Mark, once I start right there, raise your right hand.
Good morning. You solemnly swear that the testimony and the evidence you shall give to the court and the jury and the outcome of the Commonwealth and the defendant's class shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
Watch your step.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Going on.
All right, counsel.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Could you please tell the jurors your first and last name?
Yes. First name's Dan, last name's Lawler.
And where are you employed?
With the Massachusetts State Police.
What's your rank with the state police?
Sergeant.
And how long have you worked for the state police?
9 years.
At some point, did you work in an assignment with the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office as part of the State Police Detectives Unit?
Yes.
And how long were you with the Plymouth County DA's Office State Police Detectives Unit?
From March 2021 until June 2025.
I'm going to draw your attention back to January of 2023. Do you recall going out or responding to an incident that occurred in Duxbury.
Yes.
And the incident occurred at 47 Summer Street in Duxbury.
Yes.
And you're aware that that involved a death investigation where 2 children had been declared deceased. And at the time, there was another child that was being treated at the hospital.
Yes.
What were you asked to do, or what was the first thing you did in relation to this investigation?
I responded to the South Shore Hospital in Weymouth.
And why did you go there?
I was advised by my supervisor to respond.
Okay. And were you aware that a woman by the name of Lindsay Clancy had been transported there to South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And when you arrived at South Shore Hospital, was a Duxbury police detective already on scene?
Yes.
And do you recall who that was?
Detective Matthew.
Now, when you, meaning the State Police Detectives Unit, are involved in an investigation, is it common that you would utilize the services of the Crime Scene Services section of the State Police
Yes.
and the Crime Scene Response Unit?
Yes.
And in this case, did members of those 2 units respond as well to the South Shore Hospital at the time that you were there?
Yes.
Do you recall who from the Crime Scene Services and the response unit responded?
Chemist Maureen Hartnett and Trooper Rhode Stoffers.
Did you have the occasion to observe Lindsay Clancy at the South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And she was in the emergency department, correct?
Correct.
And was she able to speak, or was she intubated?
She was unable to speak.
Did you observe her to have medical equipment and being treated while you were there?
She had medical equipment attached to her person, yes.
And did you observe her to have injuries, visible injuries?
Yes.
At the South Shore Hospital, in addition to speaking to Detective Mafia and assessing Lindsay Clancy, did you do or serve anything on the hospital themselves?
Yes.
What did you do?
A preservation notice.
What is a preservation notice?
The preservation notice is to preserve the defendant's urine and blood.
And you provide that to staff at the hospital to ensure that the blood is saved unless and until a warrant is obtained for that material?
Correct.
And in addition to serving the preservation order, did you collect some items that were removed from medical staff that were on Lindsay Clancy, the defendant?
Yes.
What did you collect, or what did they provide you?
It was her clothing and wedding ring and wedding band.
I thought they stipulated to all this.
If I may approach the witness.
This is just chain of custody. I thought they stipulated to all this.
Well, she's putting her gloves on. I have no objection to any of this, Judge.
Okay.
Right. We stipulated to all of it. It's chain of custody.
As far as, Sergeant Lawler, as far as the items collected, when they're received from the hospital staff,
Blow into the glove.
what do you guys do with them?
So it goes, originally went to Detective Mafia from Duxbury PD. Then it went to me, and then it was documented by Trooper Stoffers. And then some of it will go to the office, or will go to the crime lab. In this case, went to the crime lab.
Okay. But as the state police trooper on scene, the investigator on scene, you at some point retain custody of the item.
Correct.
And I'm just showing you a paper bag. Is that familiar to you?
Oh my.
Yes.
And is this the bags that generally the detectives unit or crime scene uses to put particular pieces of evidence inside of it?
Yes.
You
So
never
I just
put
took the
gloves on
gloves
before.
on. I'm just going to show you the item if that's okay.
Are your hands sweaty? Like, what the hell, lady?
One item. Is that familiar to you?
Yes.
What do you know this item to be?
Shirt.
Is it a piece of clothing that you obtained from the hospital?
Yes.
Does it appear to be a woman's tank top?
Yes.
Okay. And are you able to observe some staining on the front? Looking close.
Yes.
And again, it's cut down the middle.
Correct.
This is how it was received from the hospital.
Yes.
I would move to submit the tank top as the next exhibit.
All right, that may be admitted.
This is a waste of our time. They already stipulated all this. It's totally custody. Honestly.
Showing you another item that's familiar to you.
Yes.
And what are these?
Jeans.
And these were also cut and off the defendant and received by the medical staff at Social Hospital.
Yes.
And on these jeans, you see a little bit of staining on the front.
Yes.
I would move to admit these as the next exhibit.
That may be admitted. Thank you.
Is this her underwear and bra?
Just showing one more item.
Oh, her bra.
Familiar to you.
Yes.
Appears to be a woman's bra, correct?
Correct.
Cut down the middle,
Yes.
and it has some staining in the front, in the middle where the cuts are.
Correct.
And is this an item that was collected that was on Lindsay Clancy's body on January 24th, 2023?
Yes.
Move to admit this as the next exhibit.
That may be admitted. All right, thank you.
You indicated there was also some rings that were collected, correct?
Correct.
And eventually these items were then taken by forensic scientist Hartnett, and eventually they get returned to the State Police Detectives Unit in your experience. Is that fair to say?
Fair to say.
Now, in addition to going to the South Shore Hospital on January 24th, 2023, did you go to any other hospitals?
Yes.
Which hospital did you go to?
Boston Children's Hospital.
And why did you go there?
I was advised to go there by my supervisor.
Okay, and did you learn that one of the children, Callan Clancy, had been transported to the Boston Children's Hospital?
Yes.
And were you there to just obtain what his current status was at that time?
Yes.
And the time that you were there at the Boston Children's on January 24th, fair to say he was still alive but noted to be in critical condition?
Yes.
Now, in the early morning hours of January 25th of 2023, were you aware that a search warrant was obtained for the home of 47 Summer Street in Duxbury?
Yes.
And in your time with the State Police Detectives Unit and during that time in January of 2023, how did you guys approach the execution of a search warrant?
So the house would have been frozen pending the search warrant being signed. Once it's signed, we begin the execution, and crime scene would document the residents inside and outside before we would go in.
Okay, so when crime scene goes in and they document, you're familiar, they use photographs and video, right?
Correct.
And once they've gone through and documented the scene as it was secured, do you, as part of the detectives unit team, then go in the house to begin search?
Yes.
And fair to say, there are a lot of hands on deck during something like this?
Correct.
And in this instance, the detectives unit was searching the entire home at 47 Summer Street, including 3 floors, basement, first floor, second floor, as well as any vehicles that were on the property.
Correct.
And in addition to people or troopers with the detectives unit, were there other local law enforcement also assisting?
Yes.
And what was your role that night or that morning in the execution of the warrant?
I was the evidence officer.
And what does that mean?
I document evidence that is located by investigators during the search warrant.
And so at that time period, when you're executing a search warrant and searching a place like a home, is the information that you know at that point what guides the search?
Yes.
So you don't know what you're looking for unless you know what happened, right?
Correct.
So in this circumstance, fair to say the state police had limited information about what had actually transpired in that house.
Correct.
But each and every room was searched to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, yes.
And your role was just to document items that were going to be collected and returned to the State Police Detectives Unit?
To document items that would be collected and either go back to the State Police Detective Unit or to the crime lab.
And fair to say when the crime lab takes items back to the lab, they have an entirely different process on how to monitor, track them, and inventory the items, correct?
Correct.
So in this particular warrant execution, did you engage in the search?
Yes.
And you said you documented what other members of the group found and located where they located it, correct?
Correct.
And so you, as the evidence officer, were aware that Trooper Rabbit located some prescription pill bottles in the kitchen that morning, correct?
Correct.
And so as the evidence officer, were you responsible for kind of keeping custody of those bottles?
Correct.
At some later point after those bottles were photographed and collected, did you inventory those bottles?
Yes.
Did you check the bedroom drawer though? Because he's going to bring up the bedroom drawer.
Show you what's been marked as Exhibit 155 if I may first witness. So Sergeant, just showing you this bag here. It's already been marked, Exhibit 155. I'm going to show you 4.
I'm sure he's biting at the bit right now to bring up that bedroom drawer with her Apple Watch in it.
Take a look at them. Do they look familiar to you?
Yes.
So the first one I'm looking at is labeled trazodone. And as far as how you inventory these, what do you do when you inventory them?
Just count them.
Okay, so do you also review the information on the label as to what should be in the bottle or what the original prescription was?
Yes.
So as far as the trazodone, it says filled on January 12th, 2023 with 30 in it. And so you counted to determine how many were left, right?
Correct.
And so fair to say there were 20 remaining in this bottle when you inventoried it.
Correct.
The diazepam, 5 milligrams, date filled January 9th of 2023 with 14 as the quantity. You counted what was in this bottle.
Correct.
And there's 2.5 left in there, correct?
Correct.
And diazepam, 2 milligrams, date filled January 16th, 2023. It has 3 listed on there, right? In type.
Yes.
But there appears to be like a pink mark through it.
Correct.
Did you put that pink mark on there?
No,
Would that have been there when the bottle was seized?
it could have been.
Okay. But regardless of how many it said were the quantity, you counted how many were actually in this bottle.
Correct.
And fair to say there were 9.5 remaining in that bottle.
Correct.
And the last one, amitriptyline, 10 milligrams. It says date filled January 16th, 2023, quantity 30. And you counted how many were left in this bottle as well.
Correct.
And there were 22 in this bottle.
Correct.
And you documented that as this was put into evidence in the state police.
Yes.
But did you get the bedroom drawer?
Did you search in the upstairs master bedroom of the house during the search warrant?
Yes, I assisted with the search.
Did you locate anything that you documented or collected to take back to the state police?
Yes.
In the master bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. What did you locate?
I believe it was a baby monitor and a Google Nest camera.
Okay. Did you observe the room, the master bedroom?
Yes.
And did you search in a nightstand that was next to the bed?
I don't recall searching on a nightstand next to the bed.
Were there other investigators that were also in the room searching other areas of the bedroom?
Yes.
And as far as any additional work you did on this particular investigation, again, fair to say the detective unit works as a team and divides up work and for follow-up.
Correct.
And you participated in some follow-up investigation by speaking to some witnesses, correct?
Correct.
And at some point, you were also asked to go to the Brigham and Women's Hospital where the defendant was following the sheriff's department, keeping watch of her.
Correct.
Do you recall what day you went there?
I don't recall the exact date.
Okay. When you went to the Brigham and Women's Hospital, was she in her own room, or was she in like a open area?
She was in her own room.
When you were there on watch, did you go into the room, or were you outside the room?
Outside the room.
And as far as your memory of whether anyone else besides medical staff went in there, at any point when you were there at the Brigham Hospital, did you observe another individual come in to visit with her or meet with her?
Yes.
And were you advised that that person was coming in?
Yes.
And were you advised that that person was allowed in with a court order?
Yes.
When the person went in, did you know if it was an attorney, a doctor, somebody else?
It was not an attorney, it wasn't a doctor. It was, I believe, a psychiatrist.
And when that person went into the room, did you go in the room as well?
No.
And where did you stay?
Outside the room.
And when this man went into the room, did he leave the door open or close the door?
I believe it was closed.
And when he came out, did he speak with you?
I don't recall.
Okay. But as far as you knew at that time period, that person was permitted to be in there and could close the door.
Correct.
And you don't know what was said or what was done in that room?
No. No.
Thank you.
Mr. Reddington.
So your position was as a sergeant for the state police on these dates
Here we go.
you testified to?
No, sir. At the time, I was a trooper.
Trooper.
Yes, sir.
You were assigned to the district attorney's office?
Yes, sir.
It would be the Plymouth County DA's office, meaning these prosecutors here, right?
Correct, sir.
Actually, you have an office in their office, right?
Correct, sir.
You don't have to call me sir. So on the first time you got involved with this case was on the evening of, was it the 24th or 23rd?
Tuesday. I think it was the 24th.
Okay. And do you recall what time it was that you went there?
To South Shore Hospital.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Approximately 7:30 p.m.
Now, at that point, you had known, obviously, that this was a major investigation involving the death of 2 children and 1 serious injury to another child. Is that correct?
Correct.
The media was absolutely insane all over the location of the house and in the hospitals and everywhere. Isn't that right?
I recall media at the house. I'm not sure about the hospital stuff.
Okay. It was a fairly horrific and largely attended to, if you will, event. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Lindsay was, when you went to the South Shore Hospital, that's where you saw her before she was transferred to the Brigham and Women's, right?
Yes.
When you went in to see her at the South Shore Hospital, she was in the emergency room, right?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that she was pretty well, she had the intubation tube in her mouth, she had tape on her face, she had her arms all taped up and wires and tubes and everything else, right?
Yes.
And it was a very confusing and, quite frankly, shocking sight to walk into that room and see her there in that condition, right?
Yes.
And you, about your duty, collected clothing and her wedding band, correct?
Yes.
And you went through all that with the items you seized, and you introduced those into evidence and noted what the government said appears to be stains, but it was blood on her clothing. Is that right?
I would say.
Theory,
Yeah.
in your experience.
Yes.
Any shoes? Did she have any shoes, sneakers, slippers, anything like that?
I don't recall shoes. I think 2 black socks, but I don't recall shoes.
Right. If there were shoes on her person or brought to the hospital, the odds are that when they saved the clothing, they would have saved the shoes as well, right?
Yes.
So you took the clothing, and then you went to the Boston Children's Hospital, right?
Yes.
And after you left the Boston Children's Hospital, you went back to the house and then assisted in the search of the property with a search warrant?
Yes.
And were you the lead investigator at that point, or were you one of the guys just searching?
I was not the lead investigator.
But there was a court order, search warrant, right?
Yes.
And you, meaning collectively you, knew that you had a search warrant that authorized a search for a number of items, including medications or pills or pill bottles, right?
Oh, here
Yes.
it goes. Here it goes.
Grab this and ask if you saw this. You never did see that.
I did not recall seeing that, sir.
You don't know what, if anything, was inside that item, right?
I don't know.
And counsel asked you whether or not it's a collaborative effort on the part of the detective units, and that you all collaborate and work together. Can you explain that? Do you report to each other? Do you keep each other advised as to what you get for evidence?
Yeah. So when we go into a house, we're not familiar with the layout. We'll walk the house and figure out where bedrooms are located, and then essentially we kind of just break up into teams, if you will, and search the residence as evidence is located. And at that time, as the evidence officer, I would be alerted that, hey, there's evidence here. We're going to document and collect it.
Okay. And you videotape the scene and you take photographs of the areas, the different rooms, right?
I do not, but the crime scene does.
But you were in the house and you were able to observe the rooms. You could see all sorts of wall hangings and paintings and fingerprints and handprints and all that stuff on the wall, right?
Yes.
Downstairs, you saw in the basement or the finished basement that there was an area that was an office or appeared to be an office. Is that correct?
I don't recall the exact layout of the basement.
Do you remember that items were seized from the basement, like a Mac Pro laptop, something like I have right here? Two of them that were seized. You remember that?
Yes.
And from your investigation, you're aware that those would have been Pat Clancy's laptops, his business and personal laptop, correct?
At the time, I'm not sure who the laptops belong to, but I know they were collected.
Okay. And how about Lindsay Clancy's, her cell phone? Was that seized, if you know?
I believe that was seized from the master bedroom.
From the master bedroom. And do you remember, was it located on the bed?
There was a phone located on the bed. I think there was another phone located in a dresser drawer. I'm not sure which phone was what, though.
All right. So both of those phones, regardless which one was what, did either one of them have blood on them?
I don't recall.
But if you guys were seizing the items in the property, such as the cell phone that had blood on it, in your experience, you probably would have remembered that, right?
Correct.
And you don't remember that?
I don't.
Okay. You did notice a lot of blood on the floor and on the walls, on the mirror and the window ledge and that area. Is that fair?
I recall blood on the floor by the mirror, and then blood on the floor going towards that back right window.
Okay. At no time did you ever come across or discover a, what do you call it, Apple Watch, right?
No, sir.
And after you all concluded your search of the home, and how long did that take? A couple of hours?
Probably. I don't recall the exact time we concluded.
Okay. The next thing you did was to go to the Brigham and Women's Hospital. Is that right?
After the search warrant?
Yeah, she had asked you a question about Brigham and Women's. I mean, did you do something else in between? I don't know.
I don't recall exactly what I did after the search warrant, but at some point I did go to the Brigham.
Okay. Can you tell us when you went to the Brigham?
I have to look at my notes.
I don't recall the exact date. I was.
All right, so whatever date you went to the Brigham, you went there for what purpose?
She was transferred to that facility, and it was to maintain custody of her at that point.
So you were going to maintain custody of her?
So the sheriffs, I believed,
Right.
had custody of her, and then our unit was tasked to facilitate providing coverage over the next couple of days.
Right, and she was actually in the bed with all, again, tubes and all sorts of things coming out of her body when you saw her, right?
Yeah, she was in the hospital bed.
And she was in like an emergency room. It was a little small room with a lot of machines in it that took up a lot of space, right?
I don't think she was in the emergency room. She was in one of the floors.
One of the floor rooms, but it was an intensive care unit, right?
I believe it could have been the surgical intensive care unit.
Surgical intensive care. And when you went there to facilitate custody Who were you facilitating custody for? The DA's office?
Yes, essentially.
Okay. And whatever, do you remember how many days? Was it like 2 days, a week, 2 weeks after the incident that brought you to the house in Duxbury? Do you recall how long it was before you went to the hospital to maintain custody, facilitate?
I don't recall how many days, maybe 2 or 3. I'm not sure the exact count.
All right, so she had been transferred out of South Shore Hospital. She was transferred to Brigham and Women's Hospital. You went to Brigham and Women's Hospital. I imagine you had to go through security to get in there, right? Well, your badge, right?
At some point, yeah, we were probably assisted with security to get
Right.
up there.
Well, you know that nobody could get access to Lindsay Clancy in that hospital, and I mean nobody, right?
Correct.
And this went on for day after day after day, to your knowledge,
Well,
facilitating, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Her parents couldn't get in to see her, correct?
I don't believe so.
She had an attorney that had difficulty, not me, but another guy that had difficulty getting in to see her. Isn't that right?
I'm not aware of that difficulty.
I had to get a court order to get a doctor in there to see her, didn't I?
Yes, it was a court order.
And when I got the court order, a doctor came in and met with Lindsay pursuant to that judge's order. And that was Paul Zeisel, correct?
I believe that's the name. I'm not sure if he was a doctor, but I believe that was the gentleman that came on the court order.
Okay, because in your direct you said that he was not a doctor, but he was a psychiatrist. So, I mean, it's just, you knew that he had something to do with head doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist, something like that.
Correct.
Okay. Did he have to clear it with you to get into the room?
He checked in with myself and the other trooper. We were advised that he was coming and to let him in on the court order.
All right. Now, I wasn't there on that occasion, right?
No.
And when Dr. Zeisel or whoever it was went into the room to see her, it's your memory that he was allowed to shut the door. Is that correct?
I believe he shut the door.
Now, you were involved in this investigation pretty intensely, working with the DA's office, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Isn't it fair to say that one of the contentions of the district attorneys is that Paul Zeisel, my doctor, that I got a court order to get in to see her, told her to call Pat and tell him that she heard voices?
What? Objection. Facts not
I see
necessary.
counsel sidebar in regards to this.
Yeah, beyond the scope. What the fuck? You need to lay a foundation for that because that's beyond the scope. Facts not evidence. You are putting shit, and that bell's rung. It can't be unheard now. The jury heard that. Wow, dude. This fucking dude. Holy shit. This guy, I'm telling you. Where is he? Right? That judge needs to put a leash on this guy. When did he start practicing? 1902? You can't just blurt out shit like that. He needs to admonish him. Wow. It's crazy too, because you can see that, like, if you watch the DA, she's sitting there like this, like just waiting to jump up. Right? She's waiting for him. Like, she keeps going, like, that's what I said yesterday. I was like, I would be objecting just as he's speaking. Like, I would just be like, objection. relevance, objection, no, objection, misrepresenting the facts. He misrepresents the facts all the time. And I don't know why he does that. I don't know if he's just trying to confuse the jury. Like, he's wild. And he keeps trying to bring the civil case into a criminal. This reminds me of the Murdoch case, where they brought in so much of the civil bullshit that it wasn't even about the murder of his wife and son anymore. Right. Yeah, it's like he don't even know how to practice law anymore. And she needs to object more, because if you don't put it on the record of objecting, when they try to go and because I'm sure if she gets convicted, they'll file oh shit, my brain just took a shit. We'll try to reverse it. And if she's not objecting, they'll be like, well, you didn't object to that. It's not on the record that you objected to all this. Of course, with the state, it doesn't matter. I mean, right. I would object. And if the judge asked me why, I'd be because he's breathing. He's breathing. I mean, a lot of it's just crazy, the things that he's saying. Speculation. I mean, like, there's so much. I would object. I would just like, I'd make the judge get so irritated by him. While they're doing this, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Wait, they went to recess? This guy's wild. Did he come back and say, like, did he excuse the jury? Huh. This case is so wild. And this is the crazy thing. If he wasn't her previous lawyer, I didn't know she had a lawyer prior to him, but if he wasn't her previous lawyer, then he's not court appointed. I think this is part of the defense strategy. I don't know, maybe prosecution's not objecting so much as theirs. Well, yeah. I mean, there's different strategies for different things, right? And letting him look like a fool to the jury is a good thing. Can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. And we can't see the jury, so we can't see how their face is reacting, right? So if you can see their face going, or if they're not paying attention or whatever. That's the great thing about being in court. Like when you go to an actual trial and sit and watch them. A lot of people, like, I'm really bad. I may not say stuff to people, but like my husband always tells me, your face don't lie. You can sit there and be like, oh, really? Like, although I may not say something to somebody, your face says it all. So people always know what I'm thinking, but a lot of times I'm very blunt. So I'm very, very much, you know what I'm thinking. Like my friends say all the time, you either love her or hate her, but never ask her for her opinion unless you want to know the truth, because she's literally going to give it to you. I'm like one of those friends that if you say, does these jeans make my ass look fat? I'm going to be like, no, your ass makes your ass look fat. Jeans have nothing to do with it. I'm just a very blunt, honest person, right? So, but my face doesn't lie. And so jury members are very much the same way. They may not be saying anything or making any, right? Well, because just tell me the truth. There's an old Russian proverb, right? I'm Russian. So there's an old Russian proverb. I'd rather be slapped with the truth than kissed with a lie, right? I'm very much that person. So I just don't believe in lying to people. Like, we're not children anymore. Why do you need to lie about anything? Like, who's going to get you in trouble? Just tell the truth. But you never have to worry about what I'm thinking. Like, I'm just going to tell you the truth. So it's just, But so when you're in like watching a jury trial and you're actually there, you can watch the jury react to a lot of things, and their body language, their facial expressions, their eye movement, everything will tell you what that jury's thinking. And you may get it wrong on some, but for the most part, you can gauge how the jury is reacting to, and especially whether or not they like each side and how they're putting on their own case. So they may not be objecting because they're like, they think this guy's a fool. Because if I was in that courtroom, I'd be like, wow, like, because even if you do micro expressions, like, that's still, if the prosecution's sitting there, and they have other teams, just because you only see those two girls, they have other people behind them watching, paying attention to everything that jury's doing. So his reaction, I mean, his being an idiot may not be playing favoritism. So that could be why. But he also may think in his head that, oh, me doing all this. And that's some people, like some lawyers have that strategy, and for some it works. I don't think it works for him though. Because he just sounds like an old kook. Like there are some good lawyers that can play that onto a jury, but you also have to read your jury. And you have to understand too, there's 18 people, but 12 of that 18 people are women. 12 of the jury is women out of the 18 people sitting up there. So do you think that it's playing well? Yeah. Because unless you have like women that are like having, like my dad, like I said, my dad was Russian. So he had a very stern, strong, masculine attitude, right? So unless they're used to that type of attitude, the old school, old man, that attitude's not going to play well. That's going to play like old authoritarian.
So members of the jury, like I said to you, I think a couple of weeks ago, sometimes I got to talk to the lawyers for a little bit longer than it takes over here at the sidebar. So this is one of those situations. So I'm going to ask you to go back to the jury room just for a couple of minutes, I think, and we'll bring you right back in and we'll resume with the testimony. Okay?
Court, all rise. Good. Go, folks. On chairs. This way, please.
Yeah, but the problem is, and women can be. The problem is, though, if they start to not like one side or the other, it does not play favoritism towards your client. Because if they don't like you, they won't like your client. It's kind of like if buying a dog.
Session, please be seated.
All right. So, counsel, what we're going to do is we'll have it just so the record's clear, the jury's out of the room at this point. We will just conduct a short voir dire
Yeah.
on the issue that we talked about over at Sidebar.
Good.
So I'll allow Mr. Reddington to ask questions at this point, and then I'll allow Commonwealth to also ask questions. Go ahead, counsel.
Okay, thank you. So you're in the hospital at Brigham and Women's, correct?
Yes.
And when you're there, with the purpose of obviously with other law officers to enforce the fact that she's in custody, Dr. Zeisel, or a doctor, came in pursuant to a court order, right?
Yes.
All right. and obviously had been cleared through security and went into the room where Lindsay was laying on the bed, right?
Yes.
You don't know, or you don't recall if he closed the door or if he kept the door open or if it was half open. You just don't remember, right?
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree with me that in the course of preparing this case for trial, that you have worked and collaborated with the prosecutors, the two district attorneys, correct?
Yes.
And you guys would talk about theories of the case and evidence that they want you to run down, perhaps as an investigator, or try to obtain, or interviews and things of that nature, right?
Yes.
And one of the theories that they had indicated to you is that Patrick Clancy had indicated to the investigators and to the grand jury, I believe, that Lindsay called him from the hospital, right?
I recall that.
And that Lindsay used that doctor's cell phone to call him from the hospital, right?
Yes.
And they basically had a theory that they wanted to run with, that Zeisel told her, Lindsay, to say that she heard voices, right?
I don't know if it's a theory or not. I just recall that conversation at some point.
Okay, so when was the conversation?
I don't recall exactly when.
You remember where the conversation was?
No.
You don't, okay.
I'm assuming at the office. I just don't recall specifically when.
And who was it you were talking to?
Probably could have been one of the troopers in the office working the case.
One of the troopers, is it McGilligan?
Probably. He's the case officer, so I'd imagine it probably would have been him, sir.
Probably could have been him.
Yeah.
How about any of the prosecutors? You talked to the DAs about that?
I don't recall specifically speaking to a prosecutor about this.
Well, how about not necessarily?
Oh. What happened to the access? They're frozen. Wow.
Conversation, Lindsay communicated.
Trying to find another feed. Hang on.
Conversation regarding the psychologist is basically the one that planted that idea in her head, right?
The conversation between Trooper McElligott and I?
Yeah.
I don't recall that specifically. I just recall the facts that are communicated to me that there was a phone call between Lindsay and Patrick.
Okay, you already said that. I know, and I apologize. I don't mean to cut you off. DAs about that?
I don't recall specifically speaking to a prosecutor about this.
Well, how about not necessarily specifically, but do you have any memory of talking to the prosecutor about, quote,
Yeah,
this,
probably
end quote?
just a little
No.
bit.
So what is it that your memory is that the trooper, whoever it may have been, or the investigator for the state police may have been, what did that person tell you?
That at some point when Lindsay was in the hospital with the doctor and the court order, that she made a phone call to Patrick and they discussed circumstances of the case, and then he was interviewed later on and communicated this phone call to, I believe, Trooper McElligott.
And what did McElligott tell you about the conversation? What the theory or the understanding was that
during the conversation, Lindsay communicated to Patrick that she had heard voices in her head.
and there was also the conversation regarding the psychologist is basically the one that planted that idea in her head, right?
The conversation between Trooper McElligott and I?
Yeah.
I don't recall that specifically. I just recall the facts are communicated to me that there was a phone call between Lindsay and Patrick.
Okay, you already said that. I know, and I apologize. I don't mean to cut you off. but let's cut to the chase.
Let's cut to
I'm
the
asking you,
chase.
voices. You know what that means when someone hears voices, right?
Yes.
You may not hear voices. I may not hear voices, but some people might hear voices, right?
Yeah.
That was discussed with McElligott, wasn't it?
Yes.
And what is it that he discussed with you about Lindsay hearing voices?
That's what she had told Patrick on the phone call, that she heard voices.
And when she told Patrick that she heard that on the phone call, the prosecution determined that it was Zell, or whoever that doctor was, you don't recall, that told her to say that for some type of a defense, right?
I don't know what the prosecution determined. All I can say is that's what I recall, the conversation between Lindsay and Patrick.
Okay. About when
The
you say-
voices.
The voices.
Yeah.
And the conversation also included the fact that it was the psychologist that planted that idea in her mind. That's the theory, isn't it?
That would be the theory, but I don't recall having
That's it. Wait. Your answer is that would be the theory, right?
correct.
Okay.
Agreeing with you that that's
Okay.
what was discussed.
All right. And this would be you and is it McElligott?
McKelligan.
McElligott.
Yes, sir.
And you're unable to assist us, though, with any of the detail. You do recall that there was a conversation about that.
Correct.
And in the conversation, it was about the conversation that Lindsay had with her husband indicating about voices, right?
Correct.
Using the psychologist's cell phone, right?
Correct.
And there was an indication that the psychologist told her to basically say that. You just told us, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
That
Attorney Bucky.
is just a conversation that they had on a working theory.
Lawler, at the time that you were at the Brigham Hospital and at the time the doctor came in, you didn't know anything about a theory of the case, correct?
No.
And you didn't know or overhear anything in outside that room about conversations between the doctor and the defendant, did you?
Correct.
And you indicated that you never had a conversation with the prosecution about their theory of the case, did you?
Did not.
So anything that you recall was simply conversation with another trooper in the unit.
Correct.
And as you sit here in your testimony today and testify about your memory of that particular night, is anything about that conversation with Sergeant McElligott guiding your testimony?
No.
You changed, or has your memory changed as to that incident after you had this conversation with Trooper McElligott,
No.
Sergeant McElligott? And in fact, you don't know anything about whether there's any evidence about Dr. Zeisel giving or prompting the defendant to have that conversation with her husband, do you?
No.
All you know factually is what came out of the investigation from what Patrick said the call was and who he said the call was from and how the call occurred, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
So, I mean,
Yeah, please.
so basically, my contention is that you're obviously up here testifying as honestly as you can. It's pretty apparent, right?
Yes.
And you're very consistent with your oath, and you understand that it's
Oh,
important.
with
And you're
your
trying, it may be difficult, but you're trying to explain what your memory is about conversation with the lead investigator, McElligott, right? I mean, you're trying to tell us what your memory is, right?
Yes.
So your testimony pertains to your conversation with the lead investigator, McElligott. It's got nothing to do with the fact that you don't recall this or you don't recall that. What you've testified to is for the judge to consider, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
What?
All right. Why don't we do this? I'm going to take about a 10-minute break at this point.
Okay.
And we'll come back out and we will resume cross-examination. Okay?
Court, all rise.
So what voir dire does is they ask this outside the jury to find out if he's allowed to ask it in front of the jury. To find out if it's more probative than prejudicial, if it's going to prejudice the jury towards whether this is legit or not. So weird. So they must have got this up and going. I'll see if They must have fixed their live stream. This one just has better sound. Anyway, what I was saying about what you said here is that, yes, women can be harsher, but if they start to dislike prosecution or defense, they also start to dislike your client. It's kind of like buying a puppy. Hang on a second. If you start having a problem with your puppy and you go back to your breeder, and your breeder starts being an asshole to you and all that stuff, some people, not all, but some people will start to have more and more problems. They say so. Will have more and more problems with the puppy that they normally wouldn't have, that they would overlook, all this stuff. It's almost like they start projecting their dislike for the breeder onto the puppy, and to the point where they just get rid of the puppy. That's why breeders should do everything possible that they can to be good breeders, produce good puppies, and work with their puppy buyers. I'm not saying bend over backwards, but if you start out with a good foundation and doing all the right things, you usually have, and sell to the right homes and all that stuff, vet your homes really well, then usually you have good experience, and your puppy buyers have good experience. And then you have forever homes, because usually people will project things, if they don't like you, they eventually won't like their puppies. Same thing in court. They don't like the prosecutor or defense, then they don't like your client. Although you're supposed to be unbiased, it doesn't work that way. Human nature usually plays a role. Right? It's kind of like buying a car. If you buy a car, you have a good experience with the car lot, and the car's really good and all that stuff, and you have no problems with it, you'll always go back. You stay loyal to whatever it is that you've bought from that car lot, right? Keep going back to the car lot because you've had a good rapport with that salesperson, whatever. Go to the car lot, drive it off the lot. It's good for a week or two. Then all of a sudden you start having problems with it. You go back, they don't give two shits about you. This is the problem, blah, blah, blah. They give you the runaround, all that shit. You start to hate the car. Although you love the car once you first took it off the car lot, you start to hate the car. Starts to become this problem. You wish you'd never gotten it. Buyer's remorse, blah, blah, blah. But then you also hate the car lot, right? You never want to go back there. You're never buying from them again. You've had a bad experience, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. And I think it's more so now in today's world than it's ever been. in any other time in history. And I think the reason is because people will use emotion versus logic, right? So we are ruled by our emotions more so now than ever, instead of logically working through anything, which is, I think, what he's trying to play. He's trying to play the emotion thing. Like if you, even if you look at the doctor who fixed up the lacerations, or the doctor's assistant who did the lacerations, he has this problem with their the wordings that all these doctors are using, and the doctor's assistants, the nurses, all these that that they were not that bad, you know. The word, this is why I said brain fog, right? She claimed brain fog. I have celiac disease. I get brain fog all the time. You think of a word and doesn't come to mind. I've never had a child, and I'm not on any drugs. So you can get brain fog from a plethora of things in your life. So a psychiatrist saying, not taking in consideration, or not saying, you know, that brain fog was that big of a deal. You can be thinking of things and just get brain fog. A lot of things, thyroid issues, all kinds of things cause brain fog. So I had thyroid cancer. I had my thyroid removed, and I take thyroid medicine, but when my levels fluctuate, I get brain fog. I get brain fog from celiac disease. So there's just all kinds of things that cause, like, so her saying brain fog and him playing on that all the time, she had brain fog. Oh my God. Okay. You can get brain fog from not eating properly. So like, there's just like a couple things that he like really hones in on that I'm like, okay, like these aren't like huge issues that a psychiatrist would sit and go, oh my God, she definitely had some things that would cause her to kill her children, right? Like none of those things add up to killing your children. Right. Right. Well, see, that's what I was just going to say. If you don't eat properly, I do too. I skip meals all the time. That's why you see me sometimes sitting and eating nuts, because I don't eat properly because I forget to eat all the time. So like sometimes I'll sit here and I'll eat nuts just because like I'm not hungry. So then I'm like, oh, all of a sudden I'll be hungry, and then I'll be like, oh, I got to eat. So I'll eat nuts but I eat cashews. That's what these are, cashews. So I'll eat nuts just because I'm like, oh, I forgot to eat or whatever. But yeah, so like that's the thing, right? So like you can get brain fog from all kinds of things. So like that was the thing he honed in on. And then when the fixing her lacerations, right? His whole thing is she can't get up. He goes, well, it wasn't like she was going to get up and walk out of that room, right? Okay, what does that have to do with anything? That she's not going to get up and walk out of the room? Like he wants everybody to forget she killed 3 children, that she's now wheelchair bound, and she's got to live with this for the rest of her life. Okay. And we're supposed to have empathy for that because he wants to use the emotion that she can just go home, because that's what she's trying to do. Just go home, live the rest of her life in the wheelchair. Okay. Do you know how many people have accidents, fall off cliffs, do all this crazy thing, and then years later through therapy,
For the purpose of the record, we return back to the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, excluding the jury.
All right, Council, can I see your sidebar?
Oh, she's all these kind of things, get surgery. They could do some miraculous things, all these things with her back. She may be walking in a few years. She may be kind of able to walk now. We have no idea. All we know is that she's sitting in a wheelchair right now. We don't know what 10 years may bring for her. Just saying. But what we do know is that an 8-month-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old are dead. They have no life. And she chose that for them. And all because she was hopeless, overwhelmed, and had brain fog. I mean, who some days, and this is the honest truth, who some days doesn't have hopelessness in your entire life? Some days just like don't feel like, oh my God, overwhelmed.
Boy, all right. Sure is interesting.
There isn't a person on this planet that can't say just one day they just don't feel hopeless. Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's people that
Court's now
their
assessed to
legs
be proceeding.
amputated and get up and walk.
Versus Lindsay Clancy, all parties are present, including the defendant, and including the two jurors.
All right.
That's all I'm
Great.
saying.
Thanks for your patience. We're able to deal with that issue. And so we're going to return now to the cross-examination. We're still going to take a morning break, as I've told you before. Might just be a little bit affected by the fact that we just took that you took that break. We didn't take that break. So with that, we're going to return to the cross-examination. Mr. Ray.
Sergeant Lawler, we're at the point where you are assisting, if you will, in the custody of Lindsay at Brigham and Women's Hospital when you observed a doctor enter into that area and ultimately into her room. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And the door was either closed or open or halfway, you don't recall, which is understandable, but you just don't remember if it was closed completely or open a little bit, right?
Correct.
But either way, you weren't eavesdropping or trying to hear anything, were you?
No.
And then when the doctor finished talking with Lindsay, at some point, you as investigators were aware that the doctor had allowed her to call her husband and use his cell phone to speak to her husband, correct?
I later learned that, yes.
And you later learned and knew from the investigation that it was fairly recently to that point that the tubes had been removed from her mouth and she was able to at least talk to a degree. And then she talked on the phone, correct?
Correct.
And after that, fair to say that you did not, when I say you, I mean collectively, all the police officers investigating for the DA's office, you did not see any reports or anything that would indicate what, if anything, was said between Dr. Zeisel and Lindsay in that room, right?
Correct.
And who is Sergeant, is it McElligan?
Sergeant McElligan, yes, sir.
And Sergeant McElligan, Joshua,
Yes.
he's the lead investigator in this case, is that correct?
Correct.
And at the time, he was a sergeant and you were a trooper, right?
At the time, we were both troopers.
Oh, both troopers. Okay, so you both got promoted. And he, as the lead investigator, told you in a conversation, or perhaps more than one, that the government theory is that Dr. Zeisel told Lindsay to say to her husband that she heard voices, right?
No objection. That's not true.
Rephrase that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not what
Did
it
you
was.
talk to McElligan about the theory that Dr.
Yeah.
Zeisel is the reason that she told her husband that she heard voices.
Yes.
And do you remember where or when that conversation occurred, or how many times that you guys discussed that?
I believe it would have been at the office. I don't recall exactly when.
Okay. And there's no investigator basis for that. That's McElligan's speculation. Is that correct?
Correct.
When you went there and you observed Lindsay after the doctor left, she's still obviously in the bed because she's paralyzed, right?
Correct. She was still in the bed.
Was she restrained by either soft restraints or handcuffs or whatever? Do you remember where her hands or her wrists restrained to the bedpost?
I don't recall specifically restraints.
Okay. And you mentioned that the state police were there. That would be people that were obviously working with you, right?
Correct.
And do you remember how many state police were there that you were coordinating or assisting?
Per shift, there was 2 of us.
2?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And also there were sheriffs from the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department that were there, right?
So we relieved the sheriffs.
Okay. And how many sheriffs did you relieve?
I don't recall exactly. Probably 2 though.
Okay. And how about Duxbury Police? You recall the Duxbury Police being there?
I do not recall Duxbury Police there.
How about the security cops for the hospital? Do you recall them being there, either in the room or outside the room?
I don't recall them being outside the room.
Do you recall coordinating with the security boss, the head guy for the hospital security?
I recall having some assistance at some point from security to get up there.
Okay. And do you remember how many days it was that you were assisting in the custody situation of Lindsay before she was allowed to have family and me and different people visit with her?
I don't recall exactly how many days.
About a week maybe, or less, or longer?
Less than a week?
Less than a week?
I think, yeah. I don't remember exactly though.
And even though she was allowed to have visitors, still the police presence was there. Is that correct?
After I left, I'm not sure after I left what the visitation was like.
So when you say after you left, you mean when you left the hospital? You mean after you were finished with your tasked duty of dealing with her security and being under arrest?
Correct. After my assigned shift, I don't.
So after you were involved, obviously you don't know what happened after that.
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Redirect, Ms. Buckingham?
Oh, yeah.
Sergeant Lawler, in your experience working in the detectives unit as a trooper, is it fair to say you oftentimes will have conversations as investigations are unfolding with other investigators that you're working on a case with about the case, potential evidence, theories of the case?
Yes.
And it's also fair to say that theories change over time based on your investigation, what evidence you find.
Correct.
Was there anything about a conversation that you had with Trooper McElligan about this theory that affects your testimony as you stand here today?
No.
And you didn't hear anything that occurred in that room that day that you were there when Dr. Zeisel was there, did you?
I did not hear anything.
Nothing further.
Nice, Lena.
Well, your testimony, basically, unobjected to, is talking about clothes that were seized at the house and the other investigation going to the hospital. That's it, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Yeah, it's beyond the scope. Like, what the hell?
Anything further? All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Thank you.
What is wrong with this guy?
The Commonwealth would call Leticia Dukes as its next witness, please.
He just likes to blurt shit out. I'm guessing this is her mom. This lady in the blonde hair. Oh, this is the one therapist, I think. Leticia Dukes. Yes, court's still in recess.
Good morning. All right.
So the
Ask you just to voice up and speak into that microphone, okay?
Sure.
All right, thank you. Yes, Counsel.
Thank you. Could you please tell the jury your first and last name?
My name is Leticia Dukes.
And how do you spell your first name?
Latiesha.
How do you spell Dukes?
Dukes.
What do you do for work?
So I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I worked as a perinatal clinician at South Shore Hospital.
And what kind of education did you receive in order to do that?
So I have a bachelor's in psychology, a master's in mental health counseling, and a master's of education in mental health counseling.
And you mentioned the South Shore Perinatal Clinic. Do you still work there?
No, I do not currently still work there.
How long did you work there?
I worked there for about 5 years.
What did you do there?
At the perinatal clinic, I worked as a perinatal clinician, which involves like short-term therapy from prior to birth to postpartum, and supported with connection to care, whether that be therapy or higher levels of care, so intensive outpatient therapy, partial hospitalization, or inpatient care.
And do you often collaborate with patients and other clinicians at the clinic or nurses about treatment plans for patients?
Yes.
And do you help to manage the treatment plans with the patient?
Yes.
How do patients, or strike that, for your role at the clinic, doing the therapy and being the clinician, are you often referred patients by the nurse practitioners or somebody else who had seen the patient or did an intake with the patient?
Yes.
And do you work with that prescriber or practitioner over the course of the treatment with that patient?
Yes.
And as far as your role and what you do with patients, is it fair to say that a large amount of your ability to work with the patient is based on your relationship and rapport that you develop with the patient?
Yes.
And do you rely heavily on things that they report to you when you're assessing them diagnostically and trying to help them come up with a treatment plan and offering therapy?
Yes.
And one of the things that might be important in that is to assess a patient's presentation each and every time you meet with them, right?
Yes.
So do you do that in each appointment or each interaction with a patient, assess them for various things?
Yes.
And what kinds of assessments do you perform?
So I typically perform a psychosocial assessment, which is getting their behavioral health history, as well as their current presentation and reason for coming in for therapy. So whether that be a specific diagnosis or current concern, or recent like crisis or trauma, and also a risk assessment that assesses how they're doing in that moment.
Okay. And as far as the therapy component of your interactions, is that largely based on the patient?
Yes.
And what kinds of therapy can you offer in that short-term therapy?
In that short-term therapy, we offer cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy. I also offer something called EMDR, eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing therapy for patients that have gone through trauma. As well as it could be even short-term support, like a couple of weeks until they're transferred to the appropriate level of care.
And in your sessions with patients, is there a minimum or a maximum time limit?
Typically, our program would go from birth to postpartum up to 2 years. If it did go a little bit over 2 years because of lack of connection to care, then it would go a little beyond that, but typically it's 2 years.
Okay, and that's the duration of your treatment or your interaction with patients. But what about in each appointment that you have? Is there a minimum or maximum time set by the clinic of when you see a patient in a particular visit?
Yes. So do you mean as far as like weekly or like hour, half an hour?
Well, I guess the question is, if a patient's coming into you because they were referred and you're meeting with them on a regular basis, how long are the appointments in duration? An hour, half an hour?
So appointments could be anywhere from a half an hour to an hour based on the patient need at that time.
And when you're interacting with a patient and you're making all those assessments, are there tools available to you if you feel or you experience that a patient needs a higher level of care or is heading or is in some sort of crisis? What tools are available to you for that?
So tools that are available to me is connection to my direct supervisor, as well as crisis coordination, as well as like the crisis support numbers that are in that area. So I could either call with the patient or sit with the family, create a safety plan, and the patient can call later on if they feel like they're safe to go home and they have supports at home.
Okay. And at some points, could it be that you would need to involve authorities like the police?
Yes.
And you also are familiar with the Section 12?
Yes.
And then that it's an involuntary procedure where the court gets involved?
Yes.
Now, as far as when you do meet with patients on that regular basis, either for a follow-up or an intake, is it a telehealth situation, an in-person situation?
It depends on what the patient is comfortable with and what the patient is able to do as far as like access. So we offer both in-person and virtual appointments.
Okay. As far as when you first meet with a patient, when they've been referred to you, that first intake procedure, is there a recommendation for whether that be in-person or telehealth?
All the perinatal behavioral health appointments for mental health counseling are in person, that initial visit.
And then the subsequent appointments are oftentimes directed by the patient?
Correct.
Would there be instances where you would insist or prefer that the patient actually come in person if they've elected for telehealth?
Typically, you prefer someone to come in person because they have either like fallen out of care or there are concerns for their safety for some reason.
And if you don't have those immediate concerns and it's the preference of the patient, do you often engage via telehealth?
Yes.
I'm going to draw your attention to a particular patient by the name of Lindsay Clancy. Do you remember when your first contact was with her?
I remember it was around late November, early December.
Okay. And you're aware that she came to the perinatal clinic and was being initially treated by Julie Paul?
Yes.
And by the time you engaged with her, she had her care had been transferred to Rebecca Gelada, correct?
Yes.
So fair to say you had the most contact with Rebecca Gelada about this particular patient?
Yes.
And if I mentioned December 2nd, does that sound familiar as the first intake with Lindsay Clancy?
Yes, as I said, around late November, early December. So that sounds about right.
Okay. And the intake appointment, was it in person with Lindsay Clancy?
Yes, it was in person.
And what were the services that were being offered for her? Why was she referred to you?
So she was referred to me for postpartum anxiety and depression symptoms. That's what she was referred for.
Okay. And in this first intake, did you go through that psychosocial history with Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
And did you have some previous information from an intake with with Julie Paul, or did you do it fresh on your own?
Fresh on my own.
Okay. And so again, this is information that the patient is reporting to you about their history.
Yes.
And so in this instance, you noted that the defendant told you, or Lindsay Clancy told you, that she had some prior contact with mental health, right?
Yes.
That she had engaged with a psychiatrist in nursing school, and that she had been prescribed medication at that point, correct?
Yes.
And that she, prior to coming to the clinic, that she had been engaged with a psychiatrist.
Yes.
Did she identify what her concerns were, or what her presenting concerns were to you?
Yes, she did.
And what were the concerns?
Her presenting concerns were anxiety, lack of sleep, depression symptoms, frequent passive suicidal ideation, thoughts of wanting to die and no longer be here.
Okay. And had she reported to you that she had been on a number of different medications?
Yes.
And you're aware that those medications were being managed by the nurse practitioners in the clinic?
Yes.
And as far as your role as a social worker, do you often kind of get into the weeds with patients about their medication?
So I'm not a social worker. I'm a mental health counselor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. But I typically have an overview of medications, but I don't particularly get into prescribing or how to take medications.
Okay. And so what's the focus of your role in offering counseling services to women with postpartum anxiety and depression at the clinic?
So my role would be to create a treatment plan to address the concerns, which would be like the anxiety and depression symptoms, and work on coping skills and building community supports around that. Or if she needed a referral to a higher level of care, I would do that.
And do you come to your own conclusions as far as diagnosis goes based on your interaction with the patient?
Yes.
And in this first interaction with Ms. Clancy, you got her history. You also did some of those assessments, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so as far as assessing her present condition, kind of how she presented to you, did you make observations of her mood?
Yes.
And do you recall her mood being low, that she felt numb and unable to laugh?
I apologize. If it's medical record, I don't have any objection, but I prefer not the leading. I have no problem if she reads from the record, though.
All right. You just, there's objection, in fact, leading question sustained, but so there's no objection if this witness, if you want to look at your notes, I don't know if you have your notes with you.
I do not. Do they have a copy?
I don't know if the parties have a copy that she could look at.
He bitches about leading all the time, but they lead constantly. I mean, he should be checking like every 5 minutes, every question.
I can approach page by page. It's fine.
Sure, that's fine. So if you need or want to look at the record, just let us know. We'll do that.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Just gonna show you that page.
Sure.
Oh, next week,
Sure, yeah.
So, Ms. Dukes, on this particular visit on 12/2, what was her mood?
So she reported having low mood and feeling numb.
Okay. And so you said she reported. So in the note that you're reviewing, these particular questions or these observations that you noted, are they based on her reports to you about these areas?
Yes, and as well as my observation of her.
Okay. So did it appear that her mood was consistent with what she was reporting to you based on your observations?
She appeared to have, if you can say, like normal mood. There was no like tears or sadness, or like there was no blunted interaction. She was able to make eye contact.
Okay. And kind of moving to what's identified in your record as mental status exam.
Yes.
What is a mental status exam?
So a mental status exam is an exam that's assessing how the patient is appearing, what she is reporting, as well as any concerns about safety, which would be any suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, as well as any intrusive thoughts or worry, any hallucinations or delusions.
Okay. And so in this exam, is it a mixture of what the patient tells you and what you're observing?
Correct.
Okay. And if I can approach you with another page. Page 53.
Thank you.
In regards to, on this particular first encounter on December 2nd, when it comes to the mental status exam, were you able to observe her facial expressions?
Yes.
And what were your observations of her facial expressions?
She was tearful when discussing her anxiety symptoms.
Okay. And did you also ask those questions about thought content? You just have to answer out loud.
Yes.
Okay. And so what did she say about thought content?
So thought content, worry about her infant and that she had an addiction to Ativan.
And you said you also, in this assessment, assessed suicidal thoughts, correct?
Correct.
And so did you ask her anything more about those passive thoughts that you indicated she reported?
Yes, and what she reported as far as like passive thoughts were thoughts of not wanting to be here or no longer wanting to live, but no plan.
And is that significant to you, the fact that she identified there was no plan?
Yes.
And why is it significant?
Because if she identified that she in fact had a plan, then that would escalate me to see it as a crisis and request higher level of support at that time.
As far as your observations of her thought process, were those within normal limits?
Yes.
And her intellectual functioning, were those within normal limits?
Yes.
Did she report to you any past attempts to harm herself or others?
No.
Did you go through with her her behavioral health history?
Yes.
And other than what you indicated as the anxiety and sleep, did she identify any concerns around substance abuse issues?
So she did identify concerns about, not in her history, but in that visit, about misuse of Ativan.
And if somebody expresses concern about that substance use, do you have a tool available to you to assess whether they have substance use issues?
Yes, so there is an assessment within the initial intake appointment that has a specific section to further assess substance use disorder.
And did you identify whether she presented with any substance use disorder issues?
I did assess that she did not present with any substance use disorder issues.
And as far as her expressed concern to you, fair to say it was focused on the one particular medication, the medication Ativan, correct?
Yes.
And why did you not find that to be an issue based on your assessment?
Based on my assessment and how she stated she was supposed to be using it, it was used correctly to remedy the anxiety symptoms.
And after this initial intake, I guess the first question is approximately how long is this initial intake appointment?
The initial intake appointment is typically an hour.
And after having spent the hour, gone through these assessments, spoken to her about her history, were you able to come up with or give an opinion about diagnosis?
Yes.
And based on her presentation to you, what was your opinion about diagnosis?
At the time, my opinion about her diagnosis was postpartum anxiety because she had a lot of anxiety about most things.
Okay. And so what were your recommendations as far as a treatment plan for her?
My recommendations at that visit was outpatient therapy, continued medication, and weekly visits with me.
And why did you recommend outpatient therapy on top of therapy with you?
So outpatient therapy was kind of like a blanket therapy, but more so like intensive outpatient therapy, partial hospitalization therapy.
And was your role in offering her weekly sessions an attempt to kind of bridge services and make sure she was getting everything she needed, or something different?
To bridge services.
And so after that meeting with the recommendation for weekly visits, did you begin to schedule additional visits with her?
Yes.
And after that particular visit on December 12th, did you send her any particular information?
Yes.
And how do you do that? How do you send patients information if you're not able to give it to them?
I can send it through my chart messaging.
And on this particular day, after your meeting with her, you sent her some resources about cognitive behavioral therapy, did you not?
Yes.
Your next contact with her was December 5th. Why December 5th, if you had just met with her on the 2nd?
That may have been the soonest available appointment that week for her.
Okay. And it was shy of the 1 week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything in your meeting with her on the 2nd that made it necessary to have a shorter appointment?
No.
This next contact on the 5th, was that in person or telehealth?
Telehealth.
And on this day, on the 5th, when you met with her, did she report some additional information or report how things had gone over the weekend to you?
May I see my notes?
Sure.
I find it odd that she wanted to be addicted to Ativan. She wasn't addicted. She told everybody she was addicted. Or
If it's okay, I'm just going to give her all the pages from that note.
That's fine.
but she had no addictive personality to it that anybody can find.
Thank you. Yep.
Why did she want to be deemed addicted to a drug?
I'm just reviewing the note.
Sure. Take your time.
It's like she wanted to have diagnosis of stuff. Again,
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. In that visit on December 5th, did she indicate to you or did she report to you how the weekend went for her?
Yes, she did.
And what did she say about the weekend?
She reported that over the weekend, she had a difficult weekend, having intrusive thoughts about wanting to die, and that she had contacted Aspire Crisis Support. She met with the clinician virtually and was told that she did not meet the criteria for inpatient treatment due to having no SI plan, suicidal ideation plan.
And so when she reported the intrusive thoughts and having a tough weekend, did you follow up with her and begin to kind of talk with her about that?
Yes.
And what did she tell you about what she was feeling in those intrusive thoughts?
So in those times, what she reported was that it was continuous intrusive thoughts of not wanting to be there, but no plan.
Okay.
Kind of like the same report that she gave to Crisis.
Okay. And as far as kind of the difficulty of the weekend and how she was feeling, did she tell you how she was feeling?
No.
In that particular meeting, when she had talked about wanting to die or not wanting to be there anymore, did you kind of follow up with her about those statements and whether she had any sort of intent or plan?
Yes.
And did you ask her additional information and complete that full mental status exam?
Yes.
From that meeting? And were there any signs of psychosis or signs of mania or homicidal ideation?
No.
And at the time that you met with her on the 5th, was she currently having those thoughts about wanting to die? If you know?
Just reviewing the note.
Sure.
In that visit, she had no suicidal ideation.
And on this particular visit on the 5th via telehealth, did somebody else participate in the visit as well? I could direct you to page 45.
45?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's obviously not.
Yes, her husband joined the visit.
And this visit, approximately how long was it, if you recall?
This visit was approximately 30 minutes.
And fair to say, focus of the visit was to kind of deal with that bad weekend and calling
Yes.
the crisis center.
Yes.
So what did you offer her as far as recommendations or assessments or assistance during this meeting?
So support during this meeting, I offered her support in connecting to, it seemed like she needed a higher level of care, so intensive outpatient therapy, partial hospitalization therapy, as well as we reviewed, one of her main concerns was also issues with sleeping. So we reviewed sleep hygiene and how to support better sleep to see if that would help with some of the intrusive thoughts.
Okay. And as far as the recommendation for intensive outpatient or partial hospitalization, did she want to connect with those programs at that time?
At that time, she didn't decline services, but she was interested in the information.
Okay. And so did you agree to send her some information?
At that time, I did not agree to send her information.
Okay. Did she ask for any other information in that meeting?
She did ask for information and support connecting to psychological testing.
And is that something that you do at your clinic, do psychological testing?
Yes.
Okay. And so did you make a referral for her to see somebody else in the clinic, or did you provide her other information?
So I discussed this information with a provider at the time, which was the psychiatrist and medication provider at the time.
And would that have been Rebecca Gelada?
Yes.
And so did you subsequently send Lindsay Clancy some information about psychological testing?
Yes.
But there was no recommendation for it to be done at the clinic?
No.
Do you know why?
At the time, it sounded like she wanted extra support or like outside opinion as far as like diagnosis and medication.
And was the testing something that she brought up, or did it come out naturally in your conversations with her?
That's something she brought up.
In your meetings, did she want to, or did she discuss medication side effects with you?
Yes.
And what were your observations of her demeanor during this visit on the 5th?
On the 5th, one second. Her presentation overall was within normal limits. She didn't appear like anxious or different than any other visit I had with her.
And this is kind of your second meeting with her, right?
Yes.
And how many meetings did you have overall with her during the time she's at the clinic, if you know?
4.
So, but you had spent an hour with her on that intake where there's a lot of information exchange, right?
Yes.
So was there anything different about how she presented, how she spoke to you or answered questions during this follow-up on the 5th?
No.
And as far as the conversations about the bad weekend and calling crisis, did you have any concern that she was in crisis? Care, correct?
Yes.
But nothing that would have prompted you for those other interventions that you've previously described to us, right?
Right.
Did you ever in this visit see signs of mania?
No.
And is that something you look for?
Yes.
And did you ever see signs of delusions or paranoia?
No.
How about psychosis?
No.
Now, your next contact with her was December 12th, correct?
Yes.
And was that in person or telehealth, if you recall?
Telehealth.
And on the 12th, did you have further conversation with her about your previous recommendations about partial hospitalization programs?
May I review?
Yep.
Yes, I review. I'll be right back.
Thank you. Yes, we did have further conversation about recommendations.
Okay. And did she indicate to you that she would be starting a program soon?
Yes, she indicated that she would be starting a partial hospitalization program in Norwell on December 20th, 2022.
Did she provide you any details about that program? Do you know?
No, just that she would be starting a program in Norwell.
Was that, had you referred her to any programs in Norwell?
No.
And in this meeting with her, did you continue to talk about her need for higher level of care?
Yes.
And did you make recommendations on a different program?
Look. Yes, I did make a recommendation on women and infants.
And why did you recommend women and infants, or why were you recommending this higher level of care?
I was recommending this higher level of care because of continued passive suicidal ideation, even with crisis intervention, as well as women and infants was more so for postpartum women, and the infant would be able to come to the program with her.
And so the program at Women and Infants is something that you're familiar with working through your clinic, correct?
Yes.
And you often make referrals over there?
Yes.
Do you require the patient's consent to make a referral?
Yes.
Did Lindsay Clancy consent to the referral at that time?
Yes.
And so did you work to make that referral after that visit?
Yes.
Now, you mentioned that she had continued passive suicidal ideation. In this meeting that you had with her, did you assess that? Her suicidal ideation?
In this visit particularly, did she have passive suicidal ideation?
Well, do you ask if they still have that?
Yes.
Or if they currently have thoughts of suicide?
Yes.
And in this instance, did she have thoughts of suicide or wanting to die?
Just reviewing, hold on.
Reviewing very slowly.
So yes, she reported like continued suicidal ideation at the time.
But did she ever indicate a plan?
No.
Having met with her on the 12th, did she ever articulate to you that she had made any attempts?
No.
And in your conversation with her on the 12th, were you able to identify any protective factors based on everything that you knew about her at this time? Now, this is your third time with her, right?
Yes.
So what were you able to identify as protective factors for this particular patient?
At this time, she had supports, which were her husband and her mother-in-law. At this time, she was able to, from the past visit I had with her, able to contact crisis when she felt like she needed extra support. So she was able to follow through with suggestions that I had given her in the previous visit.
Okay. And based on your visit with her on the 12th, she accepted a willingness to go to one of those programs, right?
Yes.
Or at least be referred.
Yes.
So was there anything about your interaction with her on December 12th that warranted any of those higher levels of intervention from you?
No.
Now, the next time you met with her was on December 19th, correct?
Yes.
And was that the final time that you met with her?
Yes.
On that day of December 19th, was that in person or a telehealth?
May I review the note?
Sure.
Thank you. That visit was virtual. And what was the question?
Was it
That was the question.
Okay.
Thank you. So on this particular visit on the December 19th, did she report any further issues or anything that had happened between the 12th and the 19th that were of concern?
So she was continuing to have low mood and numbness. She did not have any SI and had no need for crisis intervention over that weekend.
Okay. And did she indicate to you that she had been doing things at home to try to help with her mood?
Exercising?
Yes.
And what was she doing?
Let's see. She was spending time with family, and her children, and exercising.
Now, at this point, as the December 19th rolled around, had you already put in that referral to women and infants?
Yes.
And did you know if she engaged with women and infants by that point?
By that point, women and infants had reached out to her, but she had missed the call, but said she would contact them back.
Okay. Now, one of the concerns that you often talked about in your meetings with her was sleep, right?
Yes.
And in this meeting with her on December 19th, did she report any improvements in her sleep?
This case is like Groundhog Day. Because they ask each person the same questions from the same notes. And they're like, I don't know, I can't speak for that person. That was gelato.
Well, if I direct your attention to page 13 at the top of the page where it says risk assessment, there's a category for neurovegetative disturbances. Do you see that?
Yes.
Can you show me what you mean by page 13?
Can you show me what you mean? Now you care?
Prior ones. No, those are not page numbers. The one I gave her has. It's December 19th. The last page.
No, you can follow along now all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Okay.
There
Okay.
should be 3 pages. What did you note under neurovegetative disturbances?
I reported that sleep has improved.
And that would be information that's reported to you, correct?
Yes.
You can't make observations of whether somebody's sleep has improved, can you?
No.
Okay. So in this instance, she told you she was going to follow up with the referral, that she was waiting for a call back, that she had improved sleep, but that her mood kind of had remained the same, low mood, numbness, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anything about your interaction with her that day that was different from the prior interactions?
That day, she seemed to be more engaged. She was able to smile. She was able to laugh. And she was enjoying time with family.
And so did you look at that as something positive?
Yes.
Of course.
Was there anything about your interaction with her on this day, on December 19th, that made you think that you needed to invoke a higher level of care?
No.
Why would you? That's a dumb question.
As far as in-person visits, did you have any other in-person visits with Lindsay Clancy after the 19th?
No.
Fair to say your contact with her was very limited after that point?
Yes.
And on December 27th, did you have some interaction with her and her husband?
Yes.
And why did you have interaction with them?
May I see the note?
Sure.
Oh my God. Yeah, I see the note. I'm going to be perfectly clear why I did that. He is one of the lawyers being sued in this whole case, though, so I guess I understand why she, well, to be perfectly clear why she's, what she's stating. Well, it's pending on the outcome.
Can you repeat the question?
On December 27th, why did you have contact with her? Why did you make contact with Lindsay?
I was calling her to inform her that her referral had been completed.
Okay. And so you had a call with her at 10:23, 10:17, going back 944. Do you see that in the records that you have, the 4 notes that you have in front of you? They kind of go in reverse order.
Yes.
But prior to the contact about the referral being completed and just reaching out to her and letting her know, did you have a conversation with her husband?
Yes.
And was that at Lindsay's request? Did she give consent for that?
She did give consent for that.
Okay. And fair to say he was reporting concerns of prescriptions, right?
Yes.
And that's not your area in the clinic, is it?
No.
So did you refer him to the prescriber?
At this time, yes, I redirected him to speak to the prescriber.
Okay. And again, in each and every encounter that you've had, did you further recommend that she engage with a higher level of care, either a partial hospitalization program or an outpatient program?
Yes.
Now, at any point that you were interacting with her between December 2nd and the last contact with December 27th, albeit limited, did you ever have any concerns about her physical well-being?
No.
Did you ever have any concerns about the physical well-being of others in her presence?
No.
Did you ever see or observe any signs of mania, delusion, or paranoia?
No.
Any signs of psychosis observed by you?
No.
Did you ever have any difficulty understanding what she was saying or notice any differences in her speech patterns?
No.
Did you ever have any concerns that she wasn't accurately reporting things to you?
No.
And did you ever feel the need to collaborate with your provider for a higher level of care or an additional intervention?
When I did, yes.
And so would that be for the calling the police section 12 or safety?
Hold on, go ahead. Last that and then we'll.
My question was, in any of the times that you engage with her, did you ever engage with your provider to come up with a plan for safety planning, section 12, or any other of those interventions you discussed before?
No safety or section 12, no.
So as far as recommendations, would you agree that those were the recommendations for higher level of care?
Yes, for IOP or PHP services.
Okay. And on that last visit that you had with her, she reported doing things outside of the home, right?
Yes.
And that stood out to you?
Yes.
As what?
As an improvement in mood and ability to connect with others.
Thank you. If I may have a moment to put these back together.
Why don't we take the delayed morning break at this point? So hopefully it'll be a little bit shorter than normal, but we'll get you, we can stretch your legs. We'll have you back here in a couple of minutes. Okay?
Court, all rise, please. Jurors, close your notebooks.
See how rude he'll be to her. She's very careful on her wording. I wonder if her lawyer told her to be that now.
Yeah. I just have to put them back together because they're a little out of order.
So we'll be in a short recess at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonder how many drugs they have her on now. Or if she's on any drugs at all. She seems very odd. That's just subjective. But she seems very odd. I mean, not that she would be up, jumping around. No pun intended. But she's always very wide-eyed and weird looking in court. Almost like she's on a drug now. And I don't know if that's like for a court or if that's her actual ethics. You know what I mean? Like if that's truly who she is. Because that's not how her facial reaction was in any of those photos. And now she's just like this in court. Like she's not even there. It's just weird. Right. See, I wondered that too. That's why, like at the beginning of the trial, when she was doing the whole, you noticed, at the beginning of the trial, she was sitting there and she would be like, even when Patrick was testifying, right? And I said, that's going to be hard to keep up for 6 to 8 weeks. Better keep that whole energy. But you notice she's not doing that now. For the first 2 weeks, she was like, she'd sit there and she'd be like, because you can't keep that up. You can't do that every day for 8 hours a day. You know? So it makes you wonder, like, who's the real her, right? And then the crying, oh my God, the crying in court, which, like I was saying, you can have emotions, you can even have remorse for what you did after the fact, all this stuff, and you can realize what you did maybe it was a huge mistake. I mean, people kill people all the time. And then after the fact, realize they fucked up their life. And like, holy shit, what was I doing? You know, who knows? Whatever. But when you're in the trial, and this is what really made me angry about the whole thing, she's crying so hard that when the examiner was on the stand, you could hear her crying over the examiner talking. No matter how hard you tried to listen what the examiner was saying and the questions that were given and how loud they were even trying to speak over her, and they wouldn't stop. And the court, first of all, should have said, fine, we'll take a break. Let's stop this. Her lawyer should have stopped it. Lawyer's not going to, because that plays a part on the jury, right? Defense should have objected and said, judge, do something about this. Because no matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter whatever is going on, you can't disrupt the court. It would be no different if she was sitting there making comments. If she was sitting there saying, those babies, blah, 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 right? And I'm not going to say it because I don't want anything to happen. Like, people clip it and say I said these things, right? But if she would have saying gross stuff, the judge would have stopped her, right? If she was saying, I don't care, if she was laughing, if she was making smirks, whatever, the judge would have stopped her. She was still disrupting the court by crying. And she was crying so loud, you could hear her, no matter how much you were trying to listen to what the examiner was saying. And the thing is they've only done one. They still have 2 more autopsies to get through. So is she going to do the same thing? And it sets a precedent that she's allowed to do this. That's prejudicial to the jury because she's crying. They're not paying attention to what the examiner's saying, the pictures, all the stuff going on, because now they can't stop looking at her. They're watching, but they're not paying attention to what the facts were, anything that went on during that whole testimony, because they'd have to keep looking over because she's doing this. It's disruption. Everybody should have stopped it. And People may take that as a bad take. People may be like, "Mm, you can't do that. She's a mother. She killed those children. You know, she may be a mother, but she killed those children. And she's not allowed to sit there. She can cry. She can pull herself together. She can whatever, but she can't disrupt the court. A judge or a lawyer wouldn't be allowed to do that. Another defense, if that was a dad sitting there, he wouldn't be allowed to do that. If that was somebody else and not the mother, they wouldn't be allowed to be sitting there doing that. So why is she? She killed them. And we still have 2 more to get through, which is why I'm guessing they separated. I mean, it came from 2 different hospitals, so I'm sure that they probably separated the other 2 autopsies to bring in the other examiner for the other 2 babies at a different point so that we wouldn't have this disruption back to back. But it's part of the evidence. You know? Sad, but it's true. So I'm curious to see what they'll do on the other 2. I wonder if they'll stop it right away. If I was prosecutor, I'd stop it right away. I'd just be like, stop the testimony, ask the judge, either admonish her or remove her. When Brooks did his whole bullshit in the court, they moved him to another room, gave him a headset and a screen, and said, you can watch trial from another room. That way he couldn't disrupt the jury or the court proceedings. So, you know, you want to act like a fool in court, you can be removed from court. But that's what I'm saying. When you look at her affect now compared to the first week, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You when you have these people playing out theater in court, it makes a joke of the court. And the court already needs to be revamped. The judicial system itself needs to be revamped. But then when you have this, it makes a joke of the court system. Because somebody should have stopped it. And like I said, I'm not opposed to her having remorse of what she did, but it also is prejudicial to the jury. It's to get them to garner empathy for her. That's why her lawyer didn't stop it. You can bet on that. Why do you think when somebody kills somebody and the detectives are like, you know, do you feel sorry? If you could say something to the family right now, what would you say? You know, or are you just a cold-blooded killer? I mean, that's why that question is always asked, you know, because it's, do you have empathy for what you're, you know, do you have sympathy for the family, for the person you killed, blah, blah, blah. What you should always say when you're ever put in an interrogation room is lawyer. Play the Fauci bullshit. I plead the fifth, lawyer, and shut up. Don't start talking. Don't ask questions. Lawyer. They are not your friends. They're not there to help you. They're not there to answer any questions. Lawyer. Whether you're innocent or guilty, lawyer. I watch interrogations all the time, and it's hilarious how many people are saying, should I get a lawyer? Always get a lawyer. Don't ask whether you should get a lawyer. You get a lawyer. Just say lawyer. Lawyer, and I plead the fifth. And then just shut up. Don't answer nothing. Period. It kills me how many people will start talking or go, well, should I? Don't ask if you should. You should. Period. %1,000%. Even if you're innocent. And people play this dumbass game of, well, if you're innocent, you don't need a lawyer. Yes, you do. Because words are twisted. Thoughts are twisted. If you're in there and you're sitting there and they will sit there and they will say things and they will twist words. And they are trained to lie to you. The Reeds thing was absolutely built to break you down and to make you confess to things that you would never confess to, because who wants to sit in a room for 48 hours, 72 hours? Like, who wants to sit there? So you'll start confessing to things. You'll start saying things. My husband is a prime example. Not that he has ever been arrested for anything or anything like that, but he's a prime example that if you poke at him enough, he will be like, yeah, so what if I did it? Who gives a shit? If that was what you really want to know, I did it. So what? And he's never done anything, but he'll say it just because he'll be like being a smart ass, right? He'll just be like, okay, so if I did it, who cares? But that's not him confessing. That's just like him being like a smart ass. If you want to believe I did it, then I did it. Fine. I don't care. That's a confession. And that's how dumb people are. So always get a lawyer, never say anything. And never take a lie detector test. Never agree to all that shit. It's not admissible in court anyway. But they'll use it. You'll pass it and they'll tell you you failed it. And then you'll start admitting to shit you didn't do. Yep. Absolutely. Oh, I have you on camera. I've seen you there. You're like, I wasn't even there. And that's the shit they'll play. I have you on camera. We have your DNA. This is the crazy thing. Gunshot residue, all this shit that they play that is such lies. Gunshot residue. Okay, well, I could have shot a gun 3 months ago in a jacket that I wore, right? Hung it up in the closet, went and put that jacket on. Guess what? I now have gunshot residue on my hand. I didn't shoot a gun today, but I put the jacket on. Gunshot residue got on my hand. You can test me. I have gunshot residue on my hand. Doesn't mean I shot a gun today, but they're going to tell you I have gunshot residue on my hand and it shows that I shot a gun today. No, it doesn't. That's absolutely not how gunshot residue is tested. And it can't tell you when it was deposited. They lie to you so bad because they want to close the case. Their whole idea is close the case. And they will lie to you. I got you on film. There's no way you got me on film. I wasn't there. Well, where were you? And then you'll start saying all kinds of shit because you want to prove. Human nature is to prove that they're wrong. That's what the whole Reed technique is. And matter of fact, a lot of police departments are moving away from the Reed technique because it has produced a lot of false confessions. A lot of people are in prison for false confessions.
So always lawyer. Yep. And people will go after, like, if something would happen to my husband, first person that they're going to look at is me, whether I did it or not. And if they truly believe, if I say lawyer, not talking to anybody, all this shit right away, they are going to focus so hard on me that it doesn't matter if I wasn't there, if I can prove I wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to look anywhere else. They're going to focus on me because, well, I've got to be guilty. Got to be guilty. And because my husband has a huge life insurance policy. So right away, there's motive, right? Yep. Yep. True. Those are facts. And that's how they look at it. They want to close the case. They wanted this, they wanted that. So, you know, they look at people for the most screwed up shit, and they don't want to look anywhere else, you know. My husband's, you know, like I said, huge life insurance policy. Something happened to him. I could not even be there. I could be sitting here right now on here. Well, then she's got to pay somebody to do it, right? She's got to do this, got to do that. Motive is he's got a life insurance policy. So something happened to him, and they're not going to look anywhere else. They just want to hurry up and get me convicted. Yep. Facts. And they will do anything to make that work, even if it takes 5 years. They'll figure out all kinds of ways. And that's why you are your own worst enemy. You're your worst witness. That's why you keep your mouth shut. Don't say a word. Get a lawyer. And never speak to the police, even if your lawyer's sitting with you. Let your lawyer speak for you. Your lawyer's words cannot be used in court against you. A lot of people make that mistake. You're sitting there with the lawyer. I want a lawyer. So you get a lawyer, and then you're asked all these questions, and your lawyer's like, yeah, you can answer that. Nope. You go ahead and speak for me. Yep. Exactly. Never speak to the police, never speak to prosecutors, never speak to detectives. Always speak through your lawyer. Even if you're innocent, swear to God. Yep. They are not there to be your friend. They are there to close a case. No matter how much they say, well, I can see what I can do. I can put in a good word for you. I can't promise you anything because they can't. They can't promise you anything. But they can lie to you. They can say they got all kinds of shit, blah, 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 DNA, blah, 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 all this bullshit. Such lies. Yep. So people don't realize. I mean, take it for what it's worth. You talk to any lawyer, a lawyer will tell you, don't talk to anyone. Talk to your lawyer and your lawyer only. No, that's the truth. No system is perfect.
But your words can't be used against you if you don't talk them, if you don't speak them. And they tell you, when they read you your Miranda rights, they're telling you your words will and can be used against you in a court of law. I mean, they're telling you straight up. So the best thing to do is say nothing at all, except lawyer. And don't ask if you should get a lawyer. Don't ask if you need a lawyer. Just say, I want a lawyer. And they'll play the whole bullshit of, okay, well, we'll get you one. And then you'll sit there for an hour. And that's where people freak out, is they play the waiting game. And they turn up the temperature or they drop the heat. They either turn it up or they make it so damn cold. All this shit. And they have to offer you food and water. So that way they can't say that they didn't feed or give you drink or anything like that. They have to let you go to the bathroom, all that shit. But other than that, you're just sitting in this room all alone. You can't talk to anybody, all this shit. I mean, if you've watched enough interrogations, you can see how it all plays out. That's the Reed technique. I mean, just look up the Reed technique. Yep. It's all psychological warfare to see if they can make you crack. That's how people that have a weak mind start confessing to crimes they've never committed. Because all they'll do is say, yeah, okay, fine, I did it. Just get me out of here. Yes. Kids a lot. Well, yeah, because kids don't want to be locked up in a room at all.
All right. We all set for the jury?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they always think. They're going to go home because they will always say, well, we can get you out of here. You'll go home or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or they scare you with, well, you're going to go to jail if you don't tell me the truth. You're going to jail anyway. If they tell you you're going to go to jail if you don't tell me the truth, you're going to jail anyway. And the first thing that they tell you, if you can get up and walk out of here, we're not holding you here. You're just blah, blah, blah. You're here for questioning. Just say lawyer and get up.
All right, jury's entering.
I love the door's not locked. You can leave at any time. Okay, lawyer, and walk out. It's what people don't understand. Just sitting there playing the stupid fucking bullshit game.
Session, please be seated.
Your Honor, for the purpose of the record, we return back to the trial.
Should never do it.
Lindsay Clancy, all parties are present, including the defendant and including the 18 jurors.
All right, counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning.
Good morning.
So can you tell me, is it 4 times that you yourself actually met with Lindsay or more?
Can you repeat that?
I'm sorry. Was it 4 times that you actually met with Lindsay or more? And that would include telehealth?
4.
4
yes.
times, okay. You met with her on the 2nd of December, right?
Yes.
And you met with her on the 12th of December, is that right?
Yes.
You met with her on the 19th of December, right?
Yes.
And is it the 27th as well? Was there another one? Do you remember when that was?
That was by phone.
By phone. Would that be the 27th?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is give you the documents that the district attorney is questioning you from, so that you can actually have them in front of you, okay?
Thank you.
And you can slide up and just.
Yep.
And if I get confused or something, just let me know that you're on a different page than me. Couple of background questions. When you met with Lindsay, for example, on the 2nd of December, you were at least able to look at the records of Nurse Paul as well as Nurse Gelada, right?
No.
Oh. You guys work in the same place though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when a woman is in postpartum and comes to social health for help, when you're trying to help them, you can't see the medical records from what the other people like Nurse Paul and Nurse Gelada have written down?
You can see the records, yes.
You can?
Yes.
Okay, so you did look at the records?
I did not look at the records.
Okay. On the 2nd of December, and you can look along with it if you wish, looking under what would be referred to as behavioral health intake. Your pages are numbered, mine are not, so if you can find that one page, behavioral health intake on December 2nd. And the jurors will have this as an exhibit, but just going through the pages. You have it?
1 second.
She's going to irritate.
Yes, I have it.
Okay. Now, one of the things that you would be interested in when you're interacting with a patient that comes to your facility for help is how honest they are, right?
Yes.
Especially in psychiatry. You want to make sure that the person is not lying to you or hiding something. You want them to be honest, right?
Yes.
And for example, Lindsay disclosed to you and to the others that back in 2012, while she was in nursing school, she actually had Prozac because she was very nervous actually about public speaking, but she was on Prozac, right?
1 second.
Sure. I think it's right under behavioral health history, first paragraph.
Yes.
He likes to move. She's too methodical for him.
Yes.
Okay. And she also told you that she had been prescribed Ativan, for example, by a psychiatrist, Jennifer Tufts, right?
Just reviewing.
Second paragraph.
So, no, that's not what I see here.
Okay, do you see where it says prior to attending the SURE program, sentence, second paragraph?
Yes.
Patient was prescribed Ativan by psychiatrist Jennifer Tufts.
It says here she was prescribed Zoloft.
Well, I must be misreading something. I apologize. Let me approach you. This is what I have here. This is current functioning, right? Okay. And then behavioral health history, paragraph 1, right? References to Prozac, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't say.
Second
You said Dr. Tufts.
No, I was saying the second paragraph, prior to attending SURE program, she disclosed to you that she was prescribed Ativan, right?
So which one are you on?
Second paragraph, right here.
Okay.
Yep. Prior to attending SURE program, patient was prescribed Ativan, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that was by Dr. Tufts, right?
Yes.
So she told you that she was prescribed benzodiazepine by her treating psychiatrist. And further on into your interaction with her, she told you that she was very concerned about taking medication, right?
Yes.
And she was really concerned about becoming addicted to medication, such as a benzo, like Ativan, right?
She was concerned about becoming addicted to medication, yes.
All right, and the very last paragraph says, when no longer taking Ativan. You see that one?
Yes.
Okay, she then explained that, she had issues with the sleep and she started having heart palpitations and she went to the ER for anxiety. Is that right?
Correct.
And at that time, she told you that she felt that she had an addiction to Ativan. That's why she couldn't sleep, right?
Yes.
And she was stressing about that, was really concerned about that, right?
Yes.
She then said that she had weight loss, right?
Yes.
No appetite, right?
Correct.
Panic attacks, right?
Right.
Couldn't sleep, right?
Yes.
Next page, December 2nd, office visit, the same visit. First paragraph, she was prescribed Remeron and Seroquel in the past 4 days, right?
Sorry, this is a different date on this one. What date do you have?
Okay. So the next page. Okay, all right, let's look at this one then. Would you agree that this is a record from Social Health that talks about continuing your appointment December 2nd?
Yes.
Okay. If you can find
I think
that.
they were just out of order. Here it is.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine, that's no problem. That's not your fault. So are you with me on that she was prescribed Remeron and Seroquel?
Yes.
Okay. And that was within the last 4 days. Is that right?
Yes.
So when you saw her on December 2nd, after telling you about the Ativan and telling you about her weight loss and her anxiety and everything else, she told you that she had been prescribed Remeron and Seroquel. And I understand you don't do the drugs, so you don't really have.
No, I don't do medication.
Very difficult to get the brand names and the other names, but we have a chat for that. So she started Remeron and Seroquel, and then she told you that since starting the medication, she's had thoughts that she no longer wants to be here, meaning, I guess, what, on the earth?
No longer wanting
kill
to
herself?
be here could mean anything. But in that instance, when assessing for suicidal ideation, no longer want to be here qualifies as passive suicidal ideation.
Okay. And then she indicates further that this week, she was seeing you, feels like she's going to die. That's what the DA read to you, right?
Yes.
But then it goes on and says, but she doesn't care if she dies, basically. She feels like she's going to die, but she doesn't care. She said that, right?
Yes.
She then talked about how the Remeron and Seroquel were not helping her sleep. Yesterday, she took Ativan, she told you, right?
Yes.
Due to intrusive SI, suicidal ideation thoughts, right?
Yes.
Did she indicate what the intrusive suicidal ideation thoughts were yesterday, which would be December 1st? Did she tell you what that meant? Did you ask her what she meant by that?
I did ask her what she meant, and that would mean that she had the thoughts that she told me about no longer wanting to be here.
Okay. And you then told her that she could go to the ER and that you then sent her local crisis contact information. Is that right?
Yes.
And then talks about onset, says 3 months after the baby was born, she had unmanageable anxiety, correct?
Correct.
And what did she tell you the anxiety was about?
1 second.
Yep. It's under onset.
And what was the question?
Under onset, she indicated 3 months after the baby was born, she had unmanageable anxiety. Is what
Yes.
the district attorney asked you. And then it continued on with a sentence. What was her anxiety about?
About her children, especially the baby.
And what does that mean? That she was having unmanageable anxiety? Do you know, what does unmanageable mean?
So constantly worried that something was going to happen to her children or something bad was going to happen to the baby.
And at that time, the children were 4, 3, and 6 months, right?
Correct.
Under social, The notes indicate that she reported she talks about her anxiety all the time with her mom, husband, and mother-in-law, correct?
Correct.
And one of the questions the DA asked you is about her support, family supports or collateral contacts, and you indicated the mother-in-law. She also had her mother and father as family support as well, right?
Correct.
And you knew that her mother and father had actually lived in Connecticut, but moved up or came up and stayed with her for at least a week, if not longer, during December, right? If you know. And I know it's difficult if it's not in the notes for you to remember. I'm just asking, do you remember it all that she said that her mother and father came up and stayed with her to help out?
I don't remember that.
Okay. She further went on and said that she's uninterested in other topics from friends. What did that mean? She just didn't want to talk to her friends about anything?
She just had a lack of interest in conversation with friends.
And that would be her social circle. She just didn't care, right?
Right.
She said that she felt numb, right?
Yes.
She had a lack of attention, right?
Right.
Confusion, right?
Right.
Under mood, it says, well, of course, you have disturbed sleep. She's only sleeping 2 to 4 hours a night is what she told you, right?
Correct.
And then it says supports. Mother and father had been staying with her for the past week. Does that refresh your memory that you did get that info, that they were staying with her for the past week?
Yes.
That's fine. I just saw that too, so no
Yes.
problem. You took her history, that she was a nurse, that she had been on leave, and she told you that she lost 10 pounds in the past month, right?
Correct.
Now, can you flip to the next page and make sure we're both on the same page? On the substance use assessment, do you have that?
1 second.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that you're concerned about is whether or not your patient has a substance abuse problem, like drugs or alcohol or something like that, right?
Correct.
And you've already told us that your opinion was that Lindsay did not have any substance abuse problems other than her fear about the prescribed Ativan, right?
Correct.
So did you ask her about alcohol?
Yes.
Can you tell me what she said about alcohol?
She said the last time she drank alcohol was in October of 2019.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Did she tell you how much, what it is that her alcohol of choice was?
She said her alcohol of choice was wine. She would have 1 to 2 glasses.
Did she say why she would do that?
To cope with anxiety.
Okay, and this is back in 2019, right?
Correct.
That would be 3 years before you actually met with her in December of 22, right?
Correct.
Cannabis, the
Yes.
weed, the devil's lettuce. How about that? Did she confess that she was using marijuana?
Yes, she said she did use marijuana.
When?
Last use was November 15th, 2022.
Why?
I'm sorry?
Why did she say that she used it? It's under comments?
Yes, I'm taking it.
That's okay.
She said she tried a marijuana gummy to help with sleep.
And that was on November 15th of 22, right?
Yes.
Go to the next page, assessment and recommendation. If you have that, make sure we have it.
Let's see. Yes.
Okay. And I think the district attorney had asked you about the mental status exam facial expression, and you indicated that her facial expression showed anxiety, right?
Correct.
Fear, right?
Yes.
Do you know what the fear was?
Just going back to that part of the
Sure,
assessment.
yep. It's under facial expression.
And you said facial expressions, right?
Yes, please, yep.
Anxiety, fear, apprehension, sadness.
Okay, so if I can, I apologize. If you just keep you're very soft-spoken.
Yes, I'll walk.
Voice up so the jurors can hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you said that her facial expression exported to you anxiety, right?
Correct.
fear of something, right?
Yes.
Apprehension, right?
Yes.
Sadness,
Yes.
depression.
Yes.
And she expressed that she was having anxiety and numbness, right?
Yes.
And she was crying when she was telling you this, right?
Yes.
And again, indicated that her thoughts were worried about her baby, the new baby she had, the infant, as well as if she's being addicted to Ativan, is what she told you, right?
Yes.
And again, thoughts of wanting to die, but there was no plan.
Correct.
Next page, risk assessment.
Well, then why didn't you quit
There's a
taking
whole lot of stuff on it, these pages. I'm just trying to cut to the chase here. So
care of it?
you see where it says risk assessment?
I am trying to find
Okay.
it. 1 second.
Yep.
I mean, no one forced her to take Ativan. She could have stopped taking it. Like, this is so weird. I'm so afraid that I might be addicted to it. Okay, well then quit taking it.
Under current I'm sorry, it's under risk assessment.
I'm taking a look.
Okay.
I see protective factors, but I don't see risk assessment.
Okay, let me ask you, under risk assessment on December 2nd, when you asked me about that, at that point, that she again admitted to suicidal ideation, right?
Yes.
It was passive.
Yes.
It says plan to go to ER if she feels unsafe or has a plan, right?
Yes.
And then farther down, you have current medications, and she was on quetiapine or Seroquel, right?
Yes.
Fluoxetine or Prozac, right?
Correct.
Lorazepam or Ativan, right?
Yes.
Mirtazapine or Remeron, right?
Yes.
And they were all, that was all active prescriptions that she had on December 2nd, right?
Yes.
Told you that she is seeking counseling for postpartum anxiety, right?
Yes.
Do you have on December 2nd, continuing on with your evaluation, where it says clinical notes? Do you have the clinical notes?
1 second.
What I could do is read what I have rather than stand next to you. And if you trust me that I'm not misrepresenting it, I mean, I'm just reading off of this to make it quicker for you. If
Okay.
it refreshes your memory. If it doesn't, I can walk up and show it to you, okay?
Okay.
On that date, your notes say patient requested addiction support services. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And that you indicated that you would be sending patient addiction support resources by my chart or the message thing, right?
Correct.
You then indicate that based on history reported, patient meets the criteria for postpartum anxiety, right?
Yes.
That she would benefit from OP therapy. What does that mean?
Yes. From outpatient therapy services.
PHP,
Yes. Partial hospitalization program.
IOP,
Intensive outpatient program.
and that you then helped her out by bridging the therapy services, right?
Yes.
You then noted again postpartum anxiety on December 2nd, according to your notes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, no.
Now, did you know that she had been seeking and receiving therapy? I don't know if that's therapy or counseling or that type of thing. Like there's a woman that works in your business that provides therapy, right?
Yeah, so that person would be me.
Yeah.
So did she come to see you for therapy?
Yes.
How many times?
4.
So is it fair to say that she was more than willing to accept help from somebody like you?
Yes.
She didn't appear to be avoiding any therapy when recommended, right? If you could, Ms. Dukes, please look at, I think it was December 12th was the next time perhaps that you saw her?
She didn't.
Unless it's there's another intervening period.
I'll be right back.
So there's December 12th and then there's December 5th.
Oh, okay. So if you could pull out December 5th,
Yes.
and if I can come up and look at it. on December 5th, again, you were meeting with her for therapeutic intervention, right?
Yes.
And that on this occasion, she reported she had a difficult weekend, right?
Yes.
Intrusive thoughts of wanting to die, right?
Yes.
That she contacted Aspire Crisis Support, right?
Yes.
She met with an Aspire clinician, right?
Yes.
And what happened when she met with the Aspire clinician?
She met with the clinician virtually and was told that she did not meet the criteria for inpatient treatment due to not having any suicidal ideation plan.
So if she said, in addition to the fact that she's been in counseling and therapy and seeing psychiatrists and on medications for the past 3 months or whatever the period ultimately would be, and that she wanted to kill herself, didn't want to be here, couldn't care if she died, they told her because she didn't have a plan that they couldn't help her?
Correct.
Did they, to your knowledge, make any recommendations? Did they recommended that she attend a day program?
Yes.
All right. And that person from Aspire then said he would send her patient resources, right?
Correct.
But nothing ever happened. He never sent her any. You did, but he never sent her any patient resources, right? If you know.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. All right. So she had you at least to talk to and counsel and advise her. You continued on to make your observations. Fair to say that pretty much things stayed the same as far as her appearance, appearing anxious, appearing sad, unable to relate to people, that type of thing.
Correct.
Okay. Then you have as a chief complaint of present illness. And again, that was, oh, wait a minute.
That's not my note.
That's not you. Okay. All right, so you can hold on to that.
Yep.
Again.
Thank you.
Next time you saw her would be December 12th. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, on December 12th, that was a teleconference that she had called by an appointment with you?
Yes.
And at that point, she reported that she had a difficult weekend and was experiencing intrusive thoughts of wanting to. Do you have it in front of you? I don't want to take advantage of it.
Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
I love it. I don't want to take advantage of you. That's funny.
I don't see the 12th in here.
Okay. Page 28.
Page 28.
And just for the record, I think, Your Honor, that she's looking at the actual exhibit. Am I right? That's the exhibit? That's in evidence? No, it's not. Okay. Can it be in evidence? Can I offer that? Yeah. Okay. Can I offer that?
Any objection? Sure. Yeah. Yeah, if I could just say it.
I love how he's just like, can I just offer that into evidence? You have to show the other side what you're doing, dude. Like, when did you get your license? Like, I don't understand this guy. Can I just offer that? No. They have to be able to look at everything. This guy's wild. They have to make sure that it's a clean copy, that nothing's not written on it and stuff like that before it goes back to the jury, so that it's not prejudicial to the jury. Like, your notes aren't on it, like saying, hey, pay attention to this. I know, right? This judge is wild to me too. This judge is like, nah, I'm gonna let that in. What? Now I'm gonna let him go ahead. Wait, what? I want to see where this line of questioning goes. Okay, but they didn't answer. They didn't ask any of that. That's beyond the scope. You can't cross-examine on that. They didn't ask any of that. Oh, well, we'll just let him go with it. Oh, what? When did this become? But it is, you know, it is Commonwealth, so they do some wild stuff there. I mean, look at the Karen retrial.
Do you have December 12th? Again, I could do what I did
She
before.
probably had it before.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
It references providers' interventions, and that would that be you, provider?
Correct.
Okay. And you're talking about symptom management, and yet again, she's reporting she had a difficult weekend, experienced intrusive thoughts, wanted to die, didn't have a plan for suicidal plan, but she contacted Crisis over the weekend, and that would be, again, Aspire, apparently, right? There were
Correct.
2 times she contacted Aspire, not once.
Correct.
Twice. Both times they told her that there's nothing they could do for her, right?
Correct.
And she told you that she was going to start a PHP in Norwell on December 20th, right?
Correct.
But in fact, you were able to, knowing people that you may have and pull strings, you were able to try to get her into the Rhode Island Women and Infants program, right?
Correct.
Which is a really pretty good program.
Correct.
And did you know that she did, in fact, go to Women and Infants on December 20th? She didn't go to the Norwell program. She went to Women and Infants program, and that she was there for the day and that they basically turned her away.
I did know that she went to the Women and Infants program. I was not sure of the date.
Okay. So if I suggest to you it was the same date that she had told you that she was going to go to the program in Norwell on December 20th, and then that you and Nicole Harden Francis reviewed various options, one of which was that, which made sense, to attend the Women and Infants program, IOP or PHP program, right?
Correct.
And that she, patient, provided you with verbal consent to sign whatever had to be signed and get her into that program, right?
Correct.
So you know that she did on December 20th, after not getting anywhere with Aspire ×2, and after dealing with Gelada for all those times that she dealt with her, I'm sorry, the other one, Tufts, you were trying to get her into this program, which would be pretty good for a woman that had postpartum problems, right?
Correct.
And you made your referral, you opened the door for her, and she got in there to at least be interviewed, right?
Correct.
And they didn't take her, right?
Correct.
You know why?
I am not aware as to why.
Would you be surprised if I told you that they indicated that they could not
Objection.
help her out because their diagnosis or secondary diagnosis was that she was over-medicated?
Repeat the question.
Would it surprise you to know that they indicated that they couldn't treat her as a woman with postpartum psychosis or postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety or any of that, because their opinion was that she was suffering from an over-medication?
It would surprise me, yes.
But you don't know?
I do not know.
Okay. Did you know that the records from Women and Infants indicate that, in fact, on that very same day,
I would object to
they reached out to Nurse Gelada and asked her to call them so that they could discuss the medication, and Gelada never got back to her?
I was not aware of that.
I'm sorry?
I was not aware of that.
Okay. I think the district attorney had asked you a question about the last time that you saw her or had any activity with her was on December 19th. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And I may have misunderstood. Did she ask you, did you call Lindsay 4 times and she never got back to you that day? Or is that just a list of different things that you did for her?
That's a list of different things that I did for her that day.
Okay. So you were calling other contacts. You were talking to Patrick. You would contact her. I mean, she certainly was not avoiding you. That's
Yes, we were in communication.
all right. You're familiar with, maybe you are, the what's called the Edinburgh scale?
I'm aware of it, yes.
And did she have the Edinburgh scale administered to her, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. What is polypharmacy? What does that mean?
Polypharmacy?
Yeah. You ever heard of that, polypharmacy?
I've heard of it, but not sure of the exact
okay, that's
definition.
Okay. Is it something to do with having too much medications thrown at you all at once? If you know.
No, I'm not sure.
Not sure, okay. Excuse me for 1 minute. Apologize. I just had something pulled up and it just went back to default on me. So I just need a second. I apologize. Okay, I got it. And how long have you been working in your particular field?
Since 2011.
Okay. And you have obviously a very impressive background as far as your educational background and your experience. Do you continue to, like, with continuing education?
Yes.
Have you ever been aware, are you aware of the Mass General Hospital Center for Women's Mental Health?
I'm aware of it, yes.
Do they offer seminars and programs as well as research articles?
I believe they do.
Okay. Do you know that Mass General Center for Women's Mental Health
She doesn't do
about a year ago issued a fairly major study and various recommendations for people that are dealing with women that have postpartum periods and how they break up the periods. You familiar with that?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
So if I suggest to you that in that particular Mass General Hospital article, it goes on about postpartum period, and do you agree that the postpartum period, 85% of women that are pregnant or after pregnancy experience some type of mood disturbance? Would you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
All right. Would you agree that 10 to 15% of women develop more significant symptoms of depression or anxiety?
I agree.
Okay. And then postpartum psychiatric illness is then divided into 3 categories. One sounds like something out of the 50s, postpartum blues. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
You've heard that expression before,
Correct.
right? And it can be bothersome, it can be aggravating, it can be intrusive, but it's not threatening the life of the mother or a baby or anybody else, right?
Correct.
And it's fairly common, right?
Correct.
Number 2 would be postpartum depression. Now, that's a different issue, correct?
Yes.
And number 3 would be postpartum psychosis. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Now, postpartum depression, prior to morphing, if you will, into postpartum psychosis, consists of a number of symptoms, symptomology, right? For you to diagnose a woman, whether she's pregnant, has the baby, or after having the baby, with postpartum depression, there are certain things that are symptoms that you look for, right?
Correct.
Okay. One of which would be depressed or sad mood, right?
Yes.
Lindsay had that, right?
Yes.
Next would be tearfulness, right?
Yes.
Lindsay had that, right?
Correct.
Next one would be loss of interest in social activities or usual activities or friends. She had that, right?
Correct.
Feelings of guilt. She had that, right?
She didn't express feelings of guilt.
Okay. Feelings of worthlessness. Did she express that she felt worthless?
She did not express that.
How about fatigue? Did she have that?
She did not express fatigue, but lack of sleep.
I know lack of sleep. Were you aware that, in fact, that she had indicated that she was so wiped out that she couldn't even get out of bed, couldn't put her feet on the ground, and if she did, she felt heavy?
I did not hear that from her.
She told Tuck
Okay.
that she wasn't.
How about, you mentioned it, you got it, sleep disturbance is another
That's a
issue,
lie.
correct?
Correct.
She had that, right?
Yes.
Change in appetite, she had that, lost 10, 15 pounds, right?
Yes.
Poor concentration, she had that, right? She said she was numb, she could
Yes.
not focus. Suicidal thoughts,
Yes.
we know she didn't have a plan, but she had suicidal thoughts, right?
Correct.
So under the Mass General Hospital research project for women that are suffering from postpartum issues, she pretty much hit every one of the postpartum depression symptoms, correct?
Correct.
And then it talks about if it increases in severity, significant anxiety symptoms may occur. Not generalized anxiety. Significant anxiety symptoms can occur. Is that right?
Correct.
And one of the ways that you determine that is by the test that it can be administered to a person who is in a postpartum status. And that would be what we talked about, the Edinburgh test, right?
Correct.
And you're aware that she was given the Edinburgh test and had a 23 out of 30, I think it was.
I was not aware.
Okay. And some women develop panic attacks referred to as hypochondriasis. You'd agree with that, right?
Agree with that in reference to.
Lindsay, she had panic attacks and complained of having panic attacks.
Yes.
Okay. And then you can get into the various diagnoses of which on a postpartum person in that time frame, obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, right?
Correct.
Or bipolar 1 or bipolar 2, right?
Are you using them interchangeably or could develop?
Trust me, let's say bipolar 1,
Yeah.
okay? So that would be one mental disease, correct?
Correct.
And it's pretty serious stuff, right?
Yes.
And if a person is diagnosed as bipolar, one of the things that you shouldn't, if you know, is prescribe SSRIs such as Prozac or Zoloft, right?
She doesn't prescribe drugs.
If you know.
I'm not sure of that.
Okay. Would you agree that with various cases dealing with postpartum depression, all of the symptoms that we talked about, they utilize the Edinburgh Postnatal Depression Scale, which is a 10-item questionnaire that can identify women that have postpartum depression and the severity that they have. And on the scale, a score of 12 or greater it raises concern and indicates a need for more thorough evaluation, right?
Correct.
Do you know whether she was thoroughly evaluated by anybody other than Tufts and Gelada?
I'm only aware of Tufts and Gelada.
Okay. I mean, you were trying to do the best you could with what you had to work with, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now we get to postpartum psychosis.
Oh,
That's the third category, right? Postpartum psychosis, you'd agree, is the most severe form of postpartum psychiatric illness. Is that right?
Correct.
Would you agree that it occurs in averages about 2 out of 1,000 women, right?
Correct.
And its presentation can be very dramatic with onset of symptoms, and that can be within a year, according to the CDC, Center for Disease Control,
Yes.
right? Okay. And when it hits you, it just hits you, bang, quick, right?
Correct.
And when you think about 2 out of 1,000 people, seems like a daunting number, but if I tell you that Fenway Park, when they're full, when they're playing the Yankees, they have 37,700 people. If you take the 37,000 people and you multiply it by 2, that would mean as you're sitting there behind first base, 74 women possibly have postpartum psychosis, right?
Not sure of that number, but
Well, if you agree that it's 2 out of 1,000, according to the studies and the statistics, and if Fenway Park has 37,000 seats, times 2 would be 74.
okay.
That's a pretty large number of people, right? 74 people out of that crowd? Okay. It's not that
Not really.
horribly unusual. I mean, it's something that perhaps you've dealt with in your practice, right?
Yes.
And when you're dealing with people with postpartum psychosis, do you agree that generally they present with an episode of bipolar illness? If you know.
No.
No, they don't, or no, you don't know?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Bottom line is, from your dealing with Lindsay, she appeared to be sincere, right?
Correct.
She appeared to be looking for help, right?
Correct.
She appeared to be hurting, right?
Yes.
Turning in every direction she could for help, right?
Correct.
And the last time you saw her was when?
December 19th.
Okay, thank you very much.
What was all that? What a waste.
Attorney Buckingham.
It made no sense.
Ms. Dukes, you indicated that you didn't review the records of Nurse Paul or Nurse Gelada.
Correct.
Why?
I wanted to have a fresh set of eyes to look at the situation and to assess it when she came in for her visit. That's typical practice.
And that's why you do an entirely new process, right? Where you do your own intake, you assess diagnostics for determining whether there's any sort of mental illness, right?
Correct.
And while you can collaborate or speak with the providers about an overall treatment for the patient, your therapy is your therapy.
Correct.
And as far as your role, you don't have any role in medication management, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. And so when the note read current medications, is that just based on what pre-fills for the patient based on their historical records for the clinic?
Yes.
Okay. And so you don't know what she was prescribed and when, and if all of those prescriptions were active. You just know what's in the computer.
Correct.
And as far as the timeline here for the recommendations for partial hospitalization, I just want to make sure that we're clear. You had been for some time recommending some sort of partial hospitalization program, correct?
Correct.
And on December 12th, you had already talked to Lindsay Clancy about the Women and Infants program, had you not?
Correct.
And so when she told you on the 12th that she was starting that program in Norwell, that wasn't from your referral, right?
No.
And you still recommended Women and Infants.
Correct.
And you got her consent on that visit, right?
Yes.
And on the 19th, when you saw her, were you aware that she had been at the Mass General ER on December 15th for evaluation?
No.
And that she had reported then to them that she opted for an outpatient program at Women and Infants as opposed to going inpatient to McLean? Did you know that?
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay. And when you met with her on the 19th, after the visit to the ER, she still hadn't engaged with Women and Infants, had she?
No.
And so you had to re-refer her.
Yes.
But you weren't aware that she had already gotten a referral from Mass General.
No.
And so you did later learn she went on December 20th, correct?
Correct.
And were you able to review those records about this
No, I
visit to the 20th? So you don't know that the ultimate plan and assessment for her was that they didn't think she qualified for the program, but they provided her with several options for other inpatient treatments for medication management, partial hospitalization, and general mental health. Did you know that?
No.
And as of your last meeting with her on December 19th, ultimately, what were your impressions of how she was doing?
My impression was that her symptoms were improving because of the social aspects, spending time with family and friends and able to exercise when before it was difficult for her to engage or pay attention.
And your observations of her while you were interacting with her, were they more positive than on previous occasions?
Yes, she was able to smile and laugh.
Okay, thank you.
What was she laughing about? When was it she was laughing with you?
I believe that was the last visit, the 19th.
So on the 19th, it was on television or was it in person?
Oh,
It was a virtual visit, a video
Virtual
visit.
visit.
Yes.
And on the 19th, on the virtual visit, what was the purpose of that visit?
The purpose of that visit was to see if she was able to connect with care.
Okay. So
Until
you have, I guess, in your notes or reference to the fact that on the 19th of December that she was laughing.
Not that she was laughing, but that she was able to laugh.
Able to laugh.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm looking here on December 19th, telemedicine. Leticia, I apologize, Dukes, perinatal behavior health program. And you talk in that form about the date of the service, December 19th, psychotherapy, PCP, Margaret, that would be the primary care, Margaret Anastasia. Perinatal behavioral health program, you talk with the quote, if this is telehealth visit, please dot the phrase video visit, whatever. Therapeutic intervention, she's 32 years old, married, female, presents for postpartum anxiety. Symptom management, patient continues to have low mood and numbness. Numbness. Was she laughing when she had numbness?
What date are you looking at?
December 19th, the last day you saw her, or the last time you had any contact with her.
She didn't appear to have that, no.
She didn't appear to have what, laughing or numbness?
Numbness.
Well, it says right in the notes, does it not? The patient continues to have low mood and numbness.
Yes.
Okay. I don't want you to say yes unless I show it to you. So, patient continues to have low mood and numbness, right?
Correct.
Patient has not had suicidal ideation and did not need crisis intervention over the weekend. In other words, she didn't kill herself, right?
oh my God.
To help with the mood, patient has been spending time with her husband, children, and exercising, right?
Yes.
And exercise is one of the things that you would generally, your people would generally recommend that the mother do, right?
Correct.
That's a good thing to try to do, is to exercise, right?
Correct.
So the fact that the government has records that show that she would take her kids or her husband would take her kids, that they would go to a local gym and exercise or swim, that's consistent with what she was advised, right?
Correct.
Doesn't mean that she's just out there having a good time exercising, right?
Objection.
Overall.
Speculation.
She was told that that's a good thing to do, right?
She was told that that was a good thing to do, but the fact that she's able to follow through and do it shows improvement.
Oh, okay. So when did she go to the gym?
She didn't give me exact dates. These are things that
Did
she
you ever
told me
ask
she
her?
did.
Did you ever ask her, if you're telling me that, this is showing improvement, is it in the records? Does it
So
indicate that you asked
condescending.
her if she was exercising, and if so, where and when?
So we don't write down everything that we talk about in the meeting. Is particularly a summary of that visit.
Okay. And all I did was ask you about patient was spending time with her husband, children, and exercising, and then you said that that's an indication that she's improving.
Correct.
Okay. And I asked you if she's going to a gym. That's not a bad thing, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay. And then it says that she received a call, and counsel asked you about this. She received a call from women and infants, but missed the call. Do you Remember that? Remember the DA asking you that question? You said that she missed the call.
Yes.
She didn't continue to read that the reason she missed the call is that she was at another medical appointment, right?
Correct.
And she called you back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Clinician, that'd be you, provided contact information for women and infants. Patient reported that she would contact them today, being December 19th, but in fact, she did, and you did with, back it up. She did with your help, and she then went the following day on the 20th, right?
Correct.
Okay. And finally, fair to say that nowhere in here does it say that she was laughing?
You would have to go to the assessment, the risk assessment.
Okay. Got it? Let me see it, please. Okay. Now, what's a mental status exam?
So a mental status exam is to assess how the person is appearing that day, their mood and their interaction with you in that visit and how you perceive them.
Okay. So, with the help from the DA, we have December 19th, the telemedicine form, clinical notes, right?
Yes.
The laughing wouldn't be in that area, would it?
No, it would be more so in this area.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Mental status exam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Appearance, hygiene, WNL.
Within normal limits.
Okay. Clothing normal, eye contact normal, build normal, posture normal, body movement normal, right?
Yes.
Behavior is cooperative, right?
Yes.
And speech is within normal limits, is that correct?
Correct.
Emotional state, affect. Patient reports feeling numb and having low mood for most of the day, right?
Yes.
Facial expression, other. Facial expression, calm, was able to laugh and smile, right?
Yes.
Would that be in response to you saying something funny, or why was she laughing?
That would be in response to me saying something funny.
So you guys were kind of bonding a little bit.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so she was telling the truth.
Report that she was numb, having low mood, and basically the symptomology that she had already reported, right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, Como? All right, thank you. Thank you. You may step down. Thank you.
So, we got that shoved up your ass, dude. So yeah, she was laughing.
Como,
No.
next witness.
I'm also called Cameron Daley as its next witness.
You went through all that to be told, yeah, she was laughing while she was numb. She reported being numb, but was able to laugh through it. Jesus. There's got to be another detective. He looks like a flight attendant.
Good afternoon. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give that you should give to the court and the jury in the matter now pending between the Commonwealth and the defendant's class is the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Buckingham, please.
Thank you. Sir, could you please tell the jury your first and last name?
Cameron Daley,
And how do you spell your first name?
Cameron.
And can you just spell your last name for the record?
Daley.
And where do you work?
Duxbury Police Department,
How long have you been there?
6.5 years.
And back in January of 2023, what was your assignment then?
Patrolman.
And I'm going to draw your attention specifically to January 24th, 2023. Were you asked to do a particular assignment out of Duxbury in that evening?
Yes.
And what were you asked to do?
Report to Brigham Women's Hospital
And why were you going there?
for hospital watch of the suspect.
And that individual was Lindsay Clancy?
Correct.
Was there already a Duxbury officer on scene at Brigham and Women's when you got there?
Yes, 2.
2?
Yes.
And who were they?
Officer Lepard and Officer Broderick.
And When you arrived at the Brigham and Women's Hospital, were you by yourself or was there somebody else with you?
I was with another officer, Officer Thomas Johnson.
And were you able to make observations of the suspect, of the defendant, Lindsay Clancy, on that day?
Yes.
And she was asleep, was she not?
Correct.
And she had medical devices attached to her?
Yes.
Was she being treated by the medical staff there at Brigham?
Yes, periodically.
Okay. And were you inside or outside the room, if you know?
Outside the room.
And were any visitors or any other people other than the medical staff in that room with her while you were there?
No.
And from the 24th into the 25th, what time did you leave the next day on the 25th?
So I reported to the hospital on the 25th.
Oh, okay.
I was there. I arrived at 10 a.m.
So your shift there at the hospital was what?
I got there at 10 a.m. I left about 7 p.m. that night, but it was an 8 to 4 scheduled patrol shift.
Okay, and you said that was on the 25th?
Correct.
And you took over for Officer Lepard?
Correct, who were there on the overnight previous.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And when you left that next evening on the 25th at 7 p.m., was there another Duxbury officer who came to relieve you, or who came to relieve you?
No, at that time, State Police Detective McDonald arrived on scene with his crime scene team, and then Plymouth County Sheriff deputies came to take over the hospital watch.
And during that entire shift that you were there, were any attorneys or any other individuals in the room to see Ms. Clancy?
No.
And did you go back to the hospital for any shifts after that day?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Were you in uniform?
Yes.
Had your gun on?
Correct.
Had your badge?
Yes, sir.
The other guy too?
Yes, sir.
You were gonna what, guard the woman that was tied to the bed?
Correct.
That's all I have.
Ah,
Anything?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you, sir.
he was in
Thank you.
uniform, he had to.
All right. So members of the jury, rather than start another witness for just a couple of minutes, we're going to break, take the afternoon recess at this point. The plan would be to come back approximately 2 o'clock, come right back, resume with the Commonwealth's case. I'll remind you again, you probably know what I'm going to say. No talk about this case. Don't do any research about this. Don't read anything about it. While you're on break, don't go anywhere that has anything to do with this case. Take the next hour. Just kind of
Good guard
out of your head.
like in bed. Of course. Would it be on
Thank you.
if it was me?
All right, good. Find yourself a notebook. This, lovely.
I think it's hilarious that he gets so upset. She was under investigation, or she was being detained or being charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. I don't know why that's lost on anyone.
All right, Council Fair, just for 1 second, sidebar, just for a minute.
I think it's crazy. All right, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna end this stream, and then I'll be back at 2 o'clock after lunch, and then we'll finish out the rest of the day, like always. So I will be back at 2.
Man, club justice system, but the deck set to fail. You speak for transparency, they call it a crime. Next day, you suspended for 6 months of your time. Pedigree politics, trophies on the wall, vanity awards while the ethics take a fall. They say it's for the free, but we know what it is. Power in the clubhouse, silence in the beer. Pedigree politics, ribbons and lies. Smiles at the banquet, but the truth in disguise. You can muzzle the voice, but the truth don't quit, dog show, kingdom built on counterfeit grit.